Hey guys, welcome to Fanfic Fanatics. So in today's video we are gonna see, what if Deku had Deadpool abilities and had Harem? Part 2. Before starting, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are interested in MHA fanfictions. This story is It's Deadpool, but it's Izuku Midoriya by Redpan45. Now without wasting any more time, let's dive in. Katsuki Bakugo, you shouldn't be in this class at all, you villain. A guy with a stick up his ass yelled at me as I smirked. Why is that elitist? I asked, placing my feet on the desk. You are the brother of a murder. So, I say without a hint of regret, he is my family. You're proud of a murder? He yelled confusedly at my stance. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. You are nothing, but a pebble to me. I boasted with the entire class looking at me. You shouldn't be allowed to be a hero or be here in general. He stated, calming down. Then prove it. Prove that I shouldn't be here. I offered, standing up to him. Plus I think the worm wants to teach. At least you noticed me. It said, standing up. I am your teacher, Shota Aizawa. Put on these uniforms and meet me outside. He said. I grabbed one and left. I changed quickly, putting on my earplugs. Pink hair is really good with making me gear, I thought as I exited. You're here quickly, that's good. Though I have a question. What's with the earplugs? Aizawa asked me. They block the sound of my quirk so I don't go deaf, and they mic speaker feature on it so when a person talks I hear them. I say, turning them on, clicking the sides. The rest of the class showed up. You all took too long, next time, follow Bakugo's example. Aizawa spoke, glaring at them. UA has no policy on how a teacher should run his class, so I will do as I see fit, so we are not going to the orientation. You are all adults, so act like it. He sternly explained. He tossed me a ball. You are at the top of the exams, so use your quirk to throw this the farthest you can, he said as I stepped into a painted circle. One concentrated blast coming up, I thought as my hand sparked up. DEE! I shouted, erupting an explosion from my palm, sending it flying into the sky. Not bad. Aizawa showed me 874.3 meters. Oh, we can use our quirks. This is going to be fun. A pink alien with raccoon eyes yelled. Fun? How about this? The last person will be expelled. I am here to make heroes for the next 3 years. He threatened us. That isn't fair. Roundface yelled. Life isn't fair, Aizawa says in his response. He's right. You know, today I went to a store and it didn't have my favorite drink. Life is so unfair. I turned my head to see a green bush of hair walking up to us. Sorry for being late to class, though I ain't enrolled, so technically I am early by my standards. Izuku says, munching on a chimichanga. What do I have something in my teeth? Why is a murder here? A grapehead yelled. 'Cause I can be. Anyone here going to stop me? He responded, disappearing for a bit, then reappearing with a magnum in his hand. I want a challenge, so who is first? Hey nerd, you made a deal with the rat, didn't you? I asked. Sort of. Think of it as me halfway accepting it. He says. By the way, the POV is about to change. Huh? I thought POV changed to the main character. Gotta love those, they just make the story feel better. I say, getting confused looks. I aimed and shot near Aizawa's head as his eyes glowed red. Huh, you missed on purpose, he said, turning off his quirk. Good to know you don't kill like a madman. Good, because a second longer and I have shot your ankle. Also, if it did work on me, my cancer would start killing me. I say, reloading. Wait, you have cancer? A red-haired boy yells at me. Yeah, that's what I said, can't you hear? Anyway, care to join us on the activity or will you just watch? Eraserhead asked me. Sure thing, let me just get a drink. I say, teleporting to my den. Hey Ray, have you seen my flask? I asked as she appeared, handing it to me. Have fun at school, Izuku. Ray said, giving me a hug. Sure thing, I just hope a clown doesn't show up. I say with her looking at me confused. Don't worry about it, I will find it. I teleport back with my drink. I am ready, I shouted, then realizing that I don't like to do school stuff. Time skip please. I am begging you, I yelled, looking at the screen. Really, no time skip? Fine, I will just show off on all of these, I shout as they look at me weirdly. First things he made us do were standard push-ups, sit-ups and stretches. I sat next to a blonde boy that was twinkling, looking at the screen. Hey, you can see them too. I asked him, turn his head towards me. See who? He said. turning back to watching the screen. This guy gets it. Midoriya, go up for the dash. Aizawa ordered as I was with a robot acting fellow. You should turn yourself in for your crimes, villain. He said to me. Then what? I am just going to break out and release every single villain there. I taunted, getting into a runner's position. Go. I sprint the entire thing at my max speed. 3.9 seconds. That's what I got. I thought I could do better. I say with the robot showing 3.9 seconds. Everyone line up, we are doing the endurance run. Just run until you can't. Aizawa ordered as I lined up. Might as well sprint the entire thing. I say, stretching. You can sprint the entire time? A pink alien asked me. Yeah, I have infinite stamina. I say, getting into a runner's position again. Time skip 40 minutes. Are you shitting me? Now you do the time skip. I shout. I am going home, I ain't dealing with this shit. The chapter is over. Anybody reading this, fuck off. 'Cause I am done with this disrespect. I shout, teleporting home. So Mr. Aizawa, do we get expelled? Toru asked with him shaking his head. No, it was a logical ruse, you guys can go back to the dorms. He said, checking the placement. He got 7th, not bad for a guy that was half-assing it after the endurance run. It looked like he was a zombie doing the bare minimum. Well, looks like we met Bakugo's sibling. Uraraka said as they all entered the dorms. He seems cool. Kaminari says, getting a bowl of cereal with a fork. Cool? He kills for a living. Iida shouted. He went on a revenge streak and got shit done. Iida, you've never got anything done to you, want revenge, so shut it. Jiro spoke up. Iida became quiet and went to his room. Hey Jiro, why do you protect Deadpool? Uraraka asked her. He saved my life. He didn't have to, but he saved it, she responded, looking down. He saved ours as well. Kirishima shouted with Mina nodding. I am a bit confused because I zoned out a bit. The guy who showed up was Deadpool? Sato asked with everyone nodding. Why do you ask? Kiro, Suyu asked. He was a regular at my family's bakery. Sato exclaimed. Dang, really? Your stuff must rock if he was a regular, Siro said, drinking a soda. Well, he saved my family from being extorted, so he saved me as well. Uraraka spoke up with Bakugo smiling. He doesn't sound bad. Just because he is a bad guy doesn't mean he is a bad guy. Hagakure says with Momo nodding. Thanks for the praise, but can someone pass me the salt I need for my taco? I said with everyone looking at me. How are you here? They asked. I've been here the whole time. I have a room here and you guys weren't paying attention, I said, grabbing the salt myself. Hey Izuku, fangs and pink hair are going to kill you. You know? Katsuki said to me, making me stop. I did not take that into account. I have to run. I shouted, too late, I already texted them. Come on, is this for replacing the milk with horse sperm? I shouted with all of them looking at me. Then their heads turned to Kaminari, who was eating cereal. He looked down at his bowl to see chunky milk. Ah! He shouted, running toward the restrooms where everyone could hear him throwing up. That seems to be my cue to leave, I said, reaching for my teleporter. Suddenly an EMP went off and it stopped functioning. I heard this and booked it towards the front door. A massive net gets shot at me and I get caught in it. Then tumble across the entire floor. Looks like our little immortal never bothered to say hi or even text a message. A crazed voice said, getting closer. Guys, we are friends, right? Help a friend out. I shouted at them as they just stared at me. Nah, you switched our milk and you sort of deserve this for ghosting them. Katsuki said while I struggled to get out. Hey Izuku, want to know where your dorm room is? I heard this and looked up to see my former partner with a crazed look on her. Oh hey, May, honeybutt, I swear that I was going to call, but I got distracted. Scout's honor, I pleaded with her face getting real close to mine. Her very beautiful eyes staring deeply into mine. I could feel her breath on my face and she whispered into my ear, you were never a Boy Scout, Izuku. Sending a shiver down my spine. I don't have to be a Boy Scout to say that, I countered, it's in the name. She backed away, grabbing the end of the net and began to drag me to my dorm. You guys are a bunch of hoes. Don't dare ask me for anything, I shouted as I was dragged into the elevator and the doors shut. Should have we helped him? Hiro, Asui asked with Katsuki shaking his head no. Kaminari was still heard throwing up with Mineta holding his hair. So Honeybud, did you miss me? I asked with May looking at me with sad eyes taking the net off. Of course I did. I saw you die on TV. Now you're back acting like nothing happened. No calls, no messages, not even a letter saying that you were okay. She yelled at me, picking me up with ease, slamming me against the wall of the elevator. We have been partners since we were kids. Yet you cut me out like nothing because you wanted me to fulfill my dream. But that dream was supposed to have you in it as well. She cried, holding me against the wall. We could have changed your identity, run away together. Hell, even kill Nezu and every single hero. Anything so we could be together, yet you cut me out, she said angrily. I looked down. Look, May, I'm sorry. I know I make jokes, but I won't joke about this. I would rather die than let you take the fall for my damn lifestyle, I said, giving her a hug. But I am here now. I want you to know that, I say as she looks up at me. You promised to never leave alone like my family did. You broke the promise. I don't care if I had to go to prison. I am happy that you are back, but you broke the promise. I know, but I will make you another promise that I will never break. I promise to never leave you, I said, sticking my pinky out. That's the same promise you made me, she says, looking at me, one that I am renewing. She hesitated a bit, but took the pinky promise. Then she followed it by giving me a deep kiss. That is another promise to be with me. I don't care who you sleep with, just remember that I am your number one. She kissed me again. Do it. I already said I don't care. This is my entertainment. A certain voice in my head said, if you say so, mistress. I may not have many things right now to do this properly, but fuck being normal, I said, reaching into my pocket, pulling out 2 grenade pins. I get on one knee with the pin in my hand. Mei Hatsume, will you be my wife in life and after? I asked as she placed her hands to her mouth. Yes, she shouted as I slid the ring onto her finger. She gives me a tight hug as the evaluator doors open. That was the longest evaluator ride ever, I said as she dragged me to my room. She opened the door to reveal my room and I saw my prized possession. I ran in hugging it. I knew I would get you back one day, I shouted while hugging my beloved pizza oven. Ahem. I turned to see Himi on my bed. Himi, you're here, I shouted while hugging her. I heard the door click and I turned back to see May locking the door. Honeybud, what are you doing? I asked as she turned, giving a lustful stare. I look at Himiko to see the same look. There is a reason I spoke up about the women you can sleep with, she said in a very sexy voice, taking off her tank top, letting her breast fall. You're going to take my first time. I gulped, looking down and seeing a bulge in my pants, so I asked the question. So do you guys want to cuddle? Cut away to keep it PG to a certain point. So Bakugo, is that his girlfriend? Hiroshima asked him. I honestly don't know, they have been working together for a long time now. Though she looked angry, so maybe they will stop working. He was cut off from very loud banging and moans. Everyone in the dorms looked at each other. Are they? You know? Mina asked with a lilac color appearing on her cheeks. It would seem so, Momo said, making noise-canceling headphones for herself. I thought they were on the top floor, Jiro said, holding her ears because she can hear more than the others. Looks like they will stay together, Katsuki said, putting on his earplugs. Isn't Ida's room on the top floor? Hagakuri asked. Yeah, it is, Shiro said. So is mine. Can I crash in one of yours? He asked with Kirishima raising his hand. Iida laid in his bed, hearing the very loud moans and the sound of slapping echo across the halls, hoping they would stop soon. Couple hours later, he laid there with bloodshot eyes, with the sound not lowering at all. The rest of the class stayed in the living room trying to ignore it. Mineta and Kaminari tried to get a peek, only for Bakugo to knock them out. It stopped when they all heard a loud snap followed by a very loud yell. Motherfucker, my back, May, I think you broke it. Ha, ha, did you really have to go that far? Izuku asked with May smiling at him. Yes, it's what I wanted for the longest. For you to finally accept me as more than a partner, she says, giving him a quick peck on his lips. Same here, Himiko said, also giving him a kiss. So do you guys want to get some bagel bites because they are amazing? Or some chimichanga? He offered. Sure, I can go for some lunch, but let's shower first. We are covered in sweat. Himiko suggested as me and May nod. After a quick shower and a bit of fun there. Though slipping and breaking my neck was annoying. I noticed that my body was breaking more. I carry the girls down the stairs as we are having fun. We enter the living room to see everyone sleeping there. Ah, did they have a sleepover and didn't invite me? You guys are bad friends. I said, getting a pillow thrown at my face. The raven-haired one sat up with her large tits bouncing. How did you get that from all of us sleeping down here with earmuffs? She yelled as I smiled. Blankets. Pillows. TV is playing a movie. It's a sleepover, he says, pointing everything he sees, grabbing a beer from the bridge. We didn't put beer in there. A confused Mina said. I did, and what are you going to do about it? Izuku asked, with Mina shaking her head. Nothing. Cool, he responded by catching multiple pieces of cloth, chugging his beer while at it. So even when you're being intoxicated you are at top performance, that's good. Aizawa says, pulling back his scarf. Hey there, Mr. Hobo, who is apparently a great teacher, did you miss me? Izuku asked, disappearing and reappearing with a massive cake in his hands. Anybody hungry? It's coffee flavored, he said, taking a slice for himself. The rest were a bit apprehensive from his last prank. May instantly got herself a slice. You got my favorite, she shouted, eating hers very quickly, then grabbing another slice. For you, Himi, I got a blood cake. It's my blood, he says as she devours it in pure joy. They all soon take slices, with Katsuki stepping outside. Okay, this is an apology cake for what I'm about to do, Izuku said, with May and Himiko holding my shoulder. Don't mean for what you did last night? Jiro asked, slowly back up. Ah, you know me better than that. My one and only fan, he says, with lots of venom. He takes out a detonator with a red button glowing brightly. Now have a good wake-up call, because people always betray, Izuku shouted, pressing it, then teleporting away to the outside of the dorm. The squad peer in to see the whole living room of the dorm was covered in cake. Wait, squad. Izuku looked to his left, a brown-haired girl munching on her cake. What? I ain't letting you waste cake like that, she said, eating her cake. She looked like a squirrel stuffing her cheeks. You know what you deserve. He hands her a Tupperware filled with high-end mochi. Thanks, she shouts. They all walk in to see a very angry Class 1A covered in cake. You shouldn't trust a maniac that can snap like a rubber band or a condom. Well, whatever analogy you choose, Izuku suggested, dodging a cake bit. You gotta be quicker than that. His eyes zoom in on Shoto, noticing his burn scar. Hey Zuko, can you stop giving me the fuck me eyes? Izuku stated, with Shoto giving him a dirty look. Or those I am going kill you eyes, I can't tell honestly. Suddenly from behind he gets tackled to the ground. Everybody cake him, Katsuki shouted, holding him as they all smiled evilly. They all grabbed cake bits and chucked it at him. Though some got adventurous. Wait, is that a chair? He screamed as it broke on impact. Okay, class, get cleaned up. You all have battle training, so be quick, a cake-covered Aizawa said, tossing the broken chair leg away. Izuku, honey, I love you, though you should have seen that coming, May said, wiping the blood and cake off him. But it was fun though, so it's alright, he responded by kissing her cheek. She wrapped her arms around his neck, nibbling his cheek, eating cake that was on it. Now go change, because you have battle training, my little green menace, she says, picking him up. Time skip. I sat down at my seat with my uniform on. I can literally kill anybody, and yet I still can't tie my tie, I thought while taking out a bag of chips. I crunch them loudly as they all stare at me in annoyance. What do you mean? What? You have been here for 2 days and you have been a terrible dorm mate, Momo explained. Like what? I've only been myself, and it's that, or I go out hunting a certain doctor. Though my insane senses have told me that I will find a clue here, I say, shrugging. Want me to list the wrongs you have caused? I nodded to her words. You aren't taking school seriously. Almost shot the teacher. Switched the milk with horse sperm. I don't even want to know how you got it. Had very loud intercourse with your girlfriends and blew up an entire cake for fun, making a large mess, she stated as I nodded. You forgot one thing. What did I forget? I am pretty sure I got everything. The rabid jackal. A jackal. Yeah, I hid it in the girls' restroom. I am actually surprised that you girls didn't fin. I get cut off to see a purple grape bust through the classroom door. He was bleeding profusely with multiple scratches covering him. Help me, there is a wild animal after me, he shouted with the girls getting a dark aura around them. From the other side of the door you could hear the jackal scratching against it. I teleport to the door and open it to see it instantly attack the grape. Next time don't be a perv, I say, pulling the jackal off. Then I return to my seat. I am sorry for doubting you. You really are a good person, thanks for dealing with the pervert and protecting us. Momo hugged me. I did what? No Izuku, you can use this to get free stuff. Just play it cool. Yeah, I saw him enter so I took my friend's pet after him. I say confidentially. She pets it as it sits next to her laying down. Ah, he is so cute. I get a text message so I check it to see it's from Katsuki. It read, "You are full of shit." That's about right. Suddenly the door bursts open to reveal my favorite goody two-shoes of the heroes. I am here. Captain Steroids. Aw shit, you're here. This is going to be a long day. Alright, this is going to be fun. Izuku shouted with Uraraka looking worried. You think we can win this? She asked Izuku as he took out a bag of mochi. Sure we can. We won in the canon so we can definitely win in an alternate universe or it would be boring. He shouted as she grabbed some mochi. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about, so what's the plan? She asked, showing as much energy as him. I like your spirit. Okay Kirby, the plan is. The hero team can enter now. Well, looks like we have no plan. So Kirby, let's just stay together. He informs, handing her the rest of the bag. Question. Ask away. You didn't have mochi earlier. You practically took this out from nowhere. She said, pointing at the bag of mochi. Well, if you don't like mochi, you want a jumbo size of Doritos. He asked to take out a massive bag of Doritos from nowhere. It's mostly air though, he said, opening the bag revealed that it only had 10% of it filled. Oh, but that is not what I asked. She is very confused with Izuku munching away. Uraraka decided to throw away the logic of the situation and decided to go with the flow. Then let's just focus on the mission at hand then, she said, getting pumped up. Izuku smiled widely as he knew he would have fun. Soon they both made it to the top floor with no traps or interruptions along the way. Izuku stomped the final door open, revealing both Iida and Bakugo standing there. Took y'all long enough, nerd. So let's see if my training paid off, he shouted with his hands sparking very brightly. Hey Kirby, these are for you, Izuku shouted, tossing her the jumbo-sized Doritos. Both Izuku and Bakugo charged straight towards each other, with Iida doing the same towards Uraraka. Izuku took out a bat, swinging straight for the head. Gonna get a home run, he shouted as the bat exploded to bits. That ain't happening, Babe Ruth, he shouted, sucker punching Izuku in the gut. His hand sparked up with a blast, sending him flying back. By the way, what do these do? Izuku asked, showing that he took grenade gauntlets from him. Pull the pin and find out, Bakugo screamed, kicking Izuku in the face, only for it to be grabbed and then getting slammed in the wall. Looks like I did get to swing, he shouted, getting blasted in the face with an explosion. Izuku dropped the gauntlet. Nah, I let you do that for an opening. That wall can't hurt me, Bakugo boasted, putting back on his gauntlet. Sir, like you let that massive raccoon attack you that took your MP3 player, Izuku shouted, sweeping his legs, letting him fall forward. Izuku looked at Uraraka to see that she made Iida float to the ceiling and also put the bag of Doritos on his head. Hey wacko, how good is your region? Bakugo asked. I mean, I don't mean to brag or anything, but I am pretty sure that I can come back to pretty much anything, he bragged. Good, let's put that to the test. Bakugo pulled his foot, making Izuku fall onto his back. Eat shit, Katsuki shouted, cocking back his gauntlet, pulling the pin. The blast slammed Katsuki in the ceiling while Izuku was hit point blank while laying down. A massive explosion happened, blasting Izuku through all the floors. Izuku, you good, or do we have to put you back together like a puzzle? All Might asked over his earpiece as the class looked in horror at what Katsuki did. I'm fine, just can't feel my legs, he said, looking to his side to see his legs. He grabbed them. I am okay, I can feel my legs. he said, sliding it back on, letting his regeneration do the work to placing it back into its normal formation. Hero team wins, All Might shouted, with Katsuki looking over to see Uraraka placing her hand on the bomb. He sighed and got up. He trudged his way to the massive hole he made and peered over. Yo, Izuku, you good, or do I have to put you back together like a more disgusting Lego man? He shouted down as his voice echoed, I'm fine. Just lots of blood. Good attack, but it needs more firepower. Like a gun. Wait, no, more like a rocket launcher. Izuku shouted back. Soon they all made it back. Sup bitches. Izuku said, coming in with a whole lasagna. Bakugo, you took it too far. Momo shouted at him. No, he didn't. If he took it too far, I would have been chum. Izuku said, offering everyone a piece. Still, shut it, Ponytail. This is just how me and him fight. We can go all out because we know we can take it. He states, taking a piece. Nice fight. I know you were the villain, but as a hero you must never overdo it. All Might informed, with Iida looking down from the fact that he was taken out pretty quickly. Izuku peered over to a certain peppermint classmate. Hey, do the curtains match the carpet? He asked, with the boy walking away. Wow, he legit gave me the cold shoulder. Izuku said as he watched the fights of his other classmates. Though he got bored, so he walked up to Captain Steroids. How are the lungs? He asked. Perfect. Thanks to you I can move like I'm in my prime. He whispers to Izuku that a certain purple-haired lady heard as well. Great. Any leads? None. Cool. I am gonna go. I have a doctor's appointment. Izuku said, taking out a note. That's all right, just give it here and you can leave. Izuku handed it over, then teleported away to his appointment. All Might peered at the note, then seeing that it was scribbles in red crayon. Quote. Wait, he has regeneration. I just got played. Meanwhile, ha 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 ha, I can't believe he fell for it. He laughed as he walked into his apartment to see Lady Nagant fixing her sniper arm and Al with Ray building a dresser. Guess who is going to get punched by All Might the next time he sees him? Izuku shouted, with all of them turning their heads towards him. You, hell yeah, now help me come up with plans to hide for the rest of my life. 'Cause he's going to hurt me. He answered by taking out multiple documents. I will need to think of my new name. Okay class, yesterday was a good show of your quirks though, Bakugo. Next time do not test whether your gauntlets can kill someone. Aizawa said as he took out a pamphlet. We are going to the USJ today, so get your gear ready because Universal Studi. Shut up. I have heard that same joke over 100 times now, go get ready. Aizawa yelled, shutting up Denki Kaminari, who sat down scared. Hey, where is Midoriya? Mina asked Bakugo. Remember yesterday how he left class early? Well, All Might is currently hunting him down for it. He responded. Do you think he will show? Jiro asked as he shrugged. If All Might grabs, yes. If he gets away, he won't show because he would be bragging that All Might can't catch him. Cut to him. Miss me, he shouted while All Might flew above him. Get back here, All Might shouted as I weaved through the alleys. Can't make me. It's not my fault that you fell for my trick. I say, leaving the alley as he landed in front of me. All Might release a massive amount of wind pressure. Looks like I've been too lenient on you. From causing a lot of property damage to my agency to the fact that I let you skip class. He said as he loomed over me with his bright blue eyes shining over the shadow he casts. To be honest, the symbol of peace can really look scary when he isn't laughing. Aw, come on Toshi, can't you let me slide? I begged as he shook his head. No, come, we're friends right? I asked, holding out my hand. Yes we are, but you must face repercussions. He said, grabbing hand. You must face detention with Nezu. No, you can't make me. He is just going to make me do my homework. I shouted back as he tightened his grip on my hand. I take out my knife to cut it off, with All Might blocking it. The blade looked like a crinkled tin can. Not this time. Fine, but let's grab a bagel before we go back. I shouted, activating my teleporting watch. A bright light consumes the both of us as we fall through the sky. Fuck. Aw shit, I messed up the coordinates. I shouted as we fell towards the busy street. Dang it, young Midoriya, why must you be so difficult? He says, grabbing me and propelling us to a nearby roof safely. Where are we? New York. Because I wanted a New York bagel. I said in an accent making him facepalm. I checked the time to see if I could still make class. Oh shit, the trip is about to start, I shouted, setting the exact coordinates to Katsuki's personal tracker. Wait, All Might yelled, attempting to grab me as I teleported back to Japan. You have to be kidding me. Okay, time to beat my fastest time, he said, launching himself towards Japan. When I reappeared, I crashed straight into Katsuki. Sup, I say, getting up to see the whole class suited up in their hero gear. Nerd, where the hell were you? Katsuki shouted, getting up and shaking me. New York. I also might have left the number 1 hero there too. I noticed my mistake. You don't think that he will be mad, right? I ask as they look at me, then walk into the bus. Guys, fine. That is a problem for future Deadpool, but I have to suit up. I say, teleporting again to my favorite Pinkett. May honey, I need my super suit, I said as she dove on top of me. Hey Izuku, I am so happy to see you. She hugged me very tightly. Me too, Pinkie Pie. Hey, I need my suit because we are going to the USJ. No problem. Just need to say that you have no guns until I get the permit to build them. She said, tossing the suit to me. Legally saying that is, but what the cameras don't catch never happened. She added, handing me 2 Desert Eagles. Along with 2 katanas. These were a bit hard to forge for the fact that I had to use tougher metals. She says, and unsheathing one. Super duper sharp too, she informed me by stabbing it through a Kevlar vest like butter. May, this is great, I say as she gave me a quick kiss and I was halfway changing into my suit. I know, but later we need to talk about some arrangements. May told me, clicking a couple buttons on the watch. But that is for later, have fun on the trip. As I teleported, I spoke up, love yo. The moment he was gone, May rushed to the nearest trash can and threw up her breakfast. That ain't good, gotta see recovery girl. I've been feeling weird lately, school barely started a couple weeks ago when Izu came back. Need to be in tip-top shape to build my babies, she said, trudging towards the nurse's office. I reappeared in front of the class, fully geared up. I am back. Oh, and they're gone. Might as well use Katsuki's tracker again, I muttered, teleporting again, landing on top of him again. Fucking shit, quit doing this, he shouted as I got up. Well, it's that or I teleport into you because of your tracker. The fuck do you mean tracker? He shouted at me as some spit went to my face. I wiped my face clean. Nothing. You heard nothing and I said nothing, I say, turning around and taking a seat. Yo Midoriya, do you think that you can put on a shirt? Jiro said, pointing it out. Oh yeah, I was halfway done with it, I said, changing into the suit fully. Then locked and loaded my gear to my kit. Then the one that looked like a frog spoke up. Midoriya, I usually say what's on my mind, she said as I nodded. That's alright, it's good to say what's on your mind. It's what makes everybody special, though sometimes it just shows your lack of intelligence, I answered back as she smiled. Well, I was going to ask, why did you become a killer for hire hero? Asui asked as I smiled. I was tortured for 10 years straight for my quirk. Close to death on multiple occasions, got to meet death. Blew up the lab I was in and I needed money. So I robbed drug dealers, then got hired to kill people. I responded in the simplest way I could. Is that why you kill? Ribbit, no. I mainly do it because I want revenge for the fucker that experimented on me. He got away from me once, but next time he will definitely feel everything he did to me, I angrily say, cracking my armrests. Okay, everybody out. We are here, Aizawa said as they all got out. We entered to see the massive area filled with disaster zones like buildings on fire and a boat on a lake. Hello Class 1A. Welcome to the USJ, where I teach you how to deal with disasters, the Space Hero 13 said as we all listened. Hey, where is All Might? She asked. In New York, I answered as the 2 heroes stared at me. He started it and I fought back in self-defense. I swear. Suddenly the lights flickered with a massive purple portal opening in the plaza. Dozens of villains come with 2 striking me especially. One had a suit on with a metal brace on and a black bird with an exposed brain. Numas. Doc, you better be scared. Looks like I will get to find out where that damn doctor is today, I shouted, running toward them and jumping down the many stairs. He landed at the bottom of the stairway with the thugs looking upon him in fear. So, What is your big plan? Little man, he says, walking forward, smiling very widely with his mask hiding it. His new lead for revenge was in front of him, blocked by cattle. Shit, it's him. One shouted. We got numbers, get him. Another shouted, getting into a fighting stance. Oh please, let's dance. Izuku shouted, taking out his newest guns. His body was littered with quirked bullets. Soon they all stopped firing. My turn. He shouted, blasting one's head off. He charged in, shooting them as he ran forward. He jumped into the air, rotating his entire body, then slamming his foot into a gorilla-armed lackey's neck with the sound of a crack being heard. He landed, shoving his entire fist through and another lackey. Ha ha, this is so easy, he shouted as he continued to murder them all. He landed a triple headshot with a mutant type running straight towards him. Your bullets can't hurt me, he shouted, trying to grab Izuku with his forearms. No, they can't, but these can, Izuku said, unsheathing his blades, quickly slicing his arms off. He shouted in pain, only for it to be cut short from the fact his head was rolling across the concrete. The class looked in horror as he kept charging and killing the villains. Some lost their lunches as they were all warped away. Shit. 13, protect the students, Aizawa yelled as he fell into a portal. She quickly activated her quirk, forcing the warper to stop. It was a stalemate for a bit. Iida, run to the campus. Now, no questions, she shouted as he nodded, speeding towards the exit. The warper made a portal behind her as she tore herself apart. You will stay with us here, he shouted as something grabbed hold of him. No, Uraraka shouted, forcing him to float and chucked the warper towards the sky. Iida kicked the door at full strength, tearing right through it, speeding towards the main campus. Izuku was breathing heavily as he stood amongst the mutilated bodies of the dead villains. His suit was dyed red from its normal green color. The smell of iron tainted the air as he stared at a familiar blue-haired man in a numu. Without a second thought, he rushed forward, appearing in front of the man. Where is that doctor? He shouted, holding the man by the neck. He gurgled and couldn't utter a single word. Izuku tore off the severed hand on his face. I asked you a question, he shouted as the blue-haired man grabbed onto his mask. All 5 of his fingers connected, desegregating his mask and face. Motherfucker, Izuku shouted, throwing the guy to the ground as he was coughing, holding his neck. Izuku held his face as he felt it turn to dust. Aarrrrrrahhhh. He shouted in pain. He scratched at his own face, ripping out chunks with his hands. He continued to maim himself until the dusting stopped. The blue-haired man stared at him as Izuku's face regenerated, fully healing. The two locked eyes recognized each other almost immediately from the past. Bob, Labrat, the fuck are you doing here? Izuku asked as the newly dubbed Bob stood up. I could ask you the same thing, Labrat. He answered back. That Numu is my lead for my revenge. And it looks like you are in my way, Bob. Izuku shouted, aiming his blade at Bob. No, you are in my way in killing All Might, Labrat. Also, my name isn't Bob. He shouted, but you told me it was. I lied. It's Tamura Shigaraki. Shigaraki shouted at Izuku. Well, my name is Izuku Midoriya Bakugo. I don't care. Izuku's memories flashed back to when he was in a cage, being ripped apart and being forcibly put back together. He met one blue-haired child older than him that actually talked to him. Flashback. Here, the boy said, sliding him a slice of pizza. Why? Izuku had asked. You looked hungry, so I am giving you some food. Well, I haven't eaten in 4 years, so thanks, Izuku said, shoving it into his mouth, not caring if it burned him. He finished it quickly. What was it? It's pizza. How do you not know that? Labrat, the boy said, confused, trying to sound tough. Hello, numbnuts, I've been here since I was 3. Izuku responded. What's your name? Izuku asked the boy. It's Tomu, I mean Bob. Yeah, it's Bob. Bob said as Izuku smiled. Nice to meet you. Bob smiled at him as well. Why are you in here? My quirk is op regeneration, so I am just being used for it. Izuku responded. Oh. Why are you here? Izuku asked. Well, Sensei and the doctor are gone on a mission, so I wandered down here. Bob responded. Will you be my friend? Izuku asked. Sure. I got a new video game I want to see. He asked. The two played for hours laughing till he had to leave. The doctor walked and saw Izuku smiling. "Why are you doing that?" "I made a new friend whose name was Bob." "Oh, you poor thing, you have gone insane, or you hallucinated a friend." The doctor said, upping the voltage on a control. "Good. Can't have a sane test subject." He shouted, electrocuting Izuku till he passed out. He met Bob a couple more times until he just stopped appearing. Flashback over. "And here I thought I hallucinated you," Izuku said. "You're an idiot," Shigaraki responded. "Why did you stop showing up?" Izuku asked, lowering his blades. "Sensei found out, sorry bud, but whatever he says goes. Plus you disappeared, not me. I went down there one day and you were gone. I thought you finally died." "Well then just tell me where the doctor is, because I am here for him, not my childhood friend. My revenge mission needs you to tell me his location." Izuku says. Shigaraki sighed. "No can do. Sorry, but my mission needs this. Looks like we are going to have to fight and I don't really want to just tell me." Izuku says. "Looks like we can't be friends anymore, sorry," Shigaraki says, pointing up his finger at him. "Me too," Izuku said, aiming his blade at him. The warper appears beside Shigaraki. "I am sorry to say, but one of the students got away and the pros are going to be here soon." "It's all right, Kurogiri. They won't be a problem," Shigaraki said in a monotone voice. "This is where we stop being friends, Izuku. Go Numu," he shouted, sending it after Izuku. Shigaraki picked up the hand Izuku ripped off from his face and put it back on. Izuku felt like the life of punch out of him as the Numu sent him flying back. "Damn, that hurt," he thought as he crashed into the stairway. He got up to see the hulking monster in front of him. "Now this is just unfair," he shouted as it grabbed his head. Izuku slashed his arm off. "Gotta love these blades," Izuku shouted as the Numu looked at its arm confused. He used other arm to slap Izuku across the plaza. "I think my spine is twisted. I thought getting up to see the Numu regenerating way faster than me. Oh shit, the doc must have perfected my power," I shouted, running towards it. "Sorry bud, gotta kill you," I yelled as it turned its head towards me. It reaches to bear hug me, so I lean back 90 degrees, slicing off both of its arms. "You've been disarmed," I said, quickly jumping onto it. "The brain is the weakness," I thought as I remembered the doctor's notes. I dig both of my hands into his open skull. "Open brain surgery is on the way," I yelled, tearing out the entire brain along with some of the spinal cord. "Shigaraki, just tell me where he is." "Looks like the Numu is out of commission, but good thing we made preparations in case the brain was damaged," Kurogiri said as I looked at him dumbly. "Huh." My head quickly turned to see the monster I put down getting back up. His entire brain and damaged parts healed at a rapid speed. "Shit has just hit the fan," I said, grabbing the Numu's arm. "We are flying, big boy," Izuku shouted, teleporting high above USJ. Izuku quickly cuts it up with its regeneration, healing it. "This is so annoying. Oh wait, is this how people who fight me feel?" "Cool," he said, with the Numu getting the upper hand by grabbing my body. It twisted midair, holding me down as we fell to the ground. Izuku continuously stabbed it as the ground got closer. It wouldn't let go of him at all. "You can go fuck." The two then smashed into the floor of the plaza. The dust settled with the Numu still beating down Izuku. Its fists were covered in blood. Izuku wasn't saying a single word from the crater. Suddenly the ground shook violently as everyone looked towards its origin. The entrance of the USJ was covered in dust and the steps of heavy footsteps were heard. "Izuku, I am sorry for taking too long, my friend, but remember this was your fault for your tricks," All Might bellowed in a deep voice. The Numu continued to beat Izuku into the ground. "All Might is here. Finally. Numu, attack him," Shigaraki shouted, with the Numu looking up at All Might. All Might appeared right in front of the monstrosity. He looked at Izuku, who was just a pile of fleshy mush and a tattered broken suit. He looked back at the Numu. It jumped back, crouching down on all fours like a feral dog, slobbering everywhere. It launched itself towards All Might at a very fast speed, almost appearing like it teleported. The Numu collided with All Might, sending out a massive shock wave that was felt all across the USJ. The dust soon settled, showing everyone that was watching what was happening. "What?" Shigaraki shouted in shock from the scene. All Might held onto the Numu's fist with ease. He had a face filled with rage. The Numu tried to pull its arms away from All Might's grip, but failed spectacularly. Is that all you can show me? All Might said, looking at Shigaraki. Why you are supposed to be weaker. Not stronger than your prime. Shigaraki shouted at him. Who decided that? All Might shouted, tightening his grip on the Numu's hand as it whined. Who decided that I should have been weaker? You hurt my friends and students. As a teacher of UA, I shall show you my rage, he said coldly, releasing a thick choking aura. Kurogiri's main program to protect Shigaraki Tamura went wild and instantly teleported them to safety. The Numu tore its hands off and jumped back, instantly regenerating. Oh, you're the creation of the doctor that tortured my friend. I will put you out of your misery, All Might said as it charged at him again. All Might cocked back his fist into a powerful stance. He focused his strength throughout his entire body. His muscles tightened to the maximum that they continued building the amount of energy that he was about to release. He quickly closed the gap between him and the Numu, then slamming his fist directly into the chest, making the Numu's flesh fluctuate like a ripple in calm water. A massive shockwave happened again, 5 times stronger than the Numu's previous one. All Might retracts his fist as the Numu stood before him completely still. All Might flicked as its entire body collapses within itself, as if all of its cells were completely dead, along with the bones being reduced to powder. The body was falling apart from cellular level, finally rejecting all the quirks it had within itself, tearing itself apart. The Numu laid there motionless as All Might walked away. That thing has to be the doing of All for One. It had super strength, shock absorption and regeneration. I need to be ready. Our next meeting could level all of Japan, because the two of us might meet again in our prime, he thought as he reached Izuku's body. Izuku stared at his former body from his astral ghost form. Man, I am messed up. I know, and I do not like what happened to you. He turned his head to see Mistress Death. Izuku dove at her, giving her a kiss. Missed you, he shouted as she pulled him into a tight hug. Gotta say that monster of flesh pound you pretty thoroughly. That's what she said. Ha ha, he laughed as she looked unamused. Her hourglass began to beep loudly. Time for you to go back, she said sadly, giving him a hug. I'll be watching, so show me a good show, Death said as she faded. I'll be stronger, he shouted, returning to his mangled body. Izuku sat up from his beaten body. The skeletal structure was fully healed, but not his flesh. He stood up as his organs and other loosely connected skin tissues fell off along with his tattered suit. All Might stood before him with his hand out. He gladly took it. Izuku, next time don't leave me across the world, he said as the rest of the pros showed up. The class began to regroup, so All Might gave Izuku his coat from the fact that was regenerating all of his parts, meaning he would be fully naked. Izuku used his now muscle-covered skeletal hand to dig through his stuff. His regen was slow due to all the damage, so he might as well use it to speed up the process. That fight showed him he wasn't ready for the Numus yet, so he needed every edge he could get. He pulled out the perfected trigger and his now destroyed teleporter. All Might looked at him and nodded, turning away. What he didn't see didn't happen. Izuku injected the trigger into his body. It rapidly adjusted to it and accepted it, unlike other drugs, or so he thought. His body began to steam from the amount of heat he was producing. His vocal cords finally regrew. Ho! This shit is hot, he shouted as he collapsed to all fours. His body rapidly began to heal like never before, quadruple the speed of the Numu's regeneration. Ah! He screamed in pain as his body ripped itself apart and healed itself, accepting the perfected drug. His new muscles became more firm and tighter, rebuilding themselves. His heart wasn't taking it well and it burst apart. His eyes became dilated as he cracked the ground from his hand pressing down on it. His heart kept bursting until his healing factor finally held it together. The others watched in fear from his current state. Soon all sound coming from him soon stopped. He slowly stood up as a new person. His body was completely changed from the one he had before. It felt stronger and it healed a lot faster. He could just tell by moving his fingertips. Ha 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 ha. Doctor, just you wait. Deadpool is coming for ya, he said to himself. He fell backward from the strain the drug had on him. Did he really call himself his alter ego? Mina asked as Jiro corrected her. Deadpool and Izuku Midoriya are the same person with the suit on, or not? He is Deadpool, that's just who he is as a person. she stated as Izuku rolled around wearing the massive coat of All Might. Gotta say this field trip was shit, he stated. You can say that again, nerd, Katsuki said, walking up to him. So are you going to disappear again? Izuku smiled wickedly. Nah, he will come to me. This time I am going to be ready for anything he will throw at me. Anything. The USJ. It was huge news that the best university in Japan got attacked. I told Nezu to let me take the fall for it so the league gets no recognition, but he said they needed to be known so they can be actively hunted. That's dumb, I say as Nezu drank his tea. It's better than saying that Deadpool the mercenary brought tons of villains. Then proceeded to kill them all in front of the new students. He stated, well, when you state it like that it sounds stupid. Either way, the UA is going to be holding the sports festival soon, do you want to join? Nezu asked me. No need, I will just be out doing my thing and gather some intel. I know you're just going to party. Stalker much, I responded as he nodded. No, but I am just going to do what I want, so bye. I shouted, leaving his office. I walk over to the support department with the door exploding the moment I touch it. May, I thought we've gotten past your exploding phase, I say as she looks up. Never. Also, I thought you were going to take better care of your suit, but just yesterday it came back all in tatters and bloody. Well, I had an off day to say the least. Though I got my lead, so I am going to follow it, I said as she smiled. Finally. It's been a couple years, right? She asked, getting up. Yup. That means I will get that doctor in no time. She smiled, pulling me into her personal lab. Turns out if you explode enough things they get tired of your shit and give you your personal space. She bent over to open a cabinet, giving a great view in all honesty. She pulled out a red suit that seemed more armored. I had this one in case you destroyed your green one, she said, handing it to me. Did I ever tell you were the best fiancé ever? I asked, giving her a tight hug. Soon I hope to hear the word wife come out of your mouth, she said with a maniacal grin. Soon, very soon, I shouted, spinning her around. The teleporter will take time to fix, but I know you will be fine without it. So go crazy. Also, I will be in the sports festival, so be ready to see my advertisement, May said, showing me her gear. I will be there to see, I promise, I say, walking out as she held her stomach. I hope you do. Also, don't forget to tell your parents we're engaged, she shouted behind. Sure thing, babe. I visited Himiko for a bit as she seemed to really miss me, so I gave her what she wanted. Then promised on a later date to take her out. I left UA with a duffel bag on a mission that involved a lot of murder. WHO, or the League of Villains, I shouted, aiming my gun at someone against the wall. ID don't know, he shouted as I blasted his head off. Oh wait, this is the wrong gang. Oh well, on to the right one then, I shouted, running down the road, then getting sidelined by a car. I roll with the impact, then get up very quickly. I got up to see many people with quirks ready aimed at me. So what do I owe the pleasure? I asked as they just charged, boring people to fight. I shot the closest one in the leg as he fell forward. Another bullet entered his skull. I get socked in the face, so I grab the arm, twisting it cleanly off. I've gotten stronger, I shouted, choke slamming one goon into the entire group. I got doused in gasoline, then lit on fire as I continued to move forward. A little fire can't hurt me. Well, it hurts, but you get the picture. Give me a hug, I shouted, hugging one to death as the two of us burned. Unsheathing my katanas, I slice 4 heads in a row. They soon all backed up, seeing me filled with holes and burns. I would see a doctor, but I really hate needles, I said with my guts spilling out. You go back in there, I say, shoving the guts back in. Gotta say I am impressed with you, Deadpool, a voice said from the crowd. I look up to see a large amount of ice encase me. My name is Destro, I am the current leader of the Meta Liberation Army. He spoke. Oh, I know you. You want to start a war. No, I just want equality. It's very simple, he said as a black mask appeared on his face. No, you want a world where superior quirks run it, while the weak gets picked on, so your utopia is a disaster. There are reasons why we have laws, I explained to him. Yet you break them. It's fun, I say, tapping his forehead. That made him take a double take. You were just in ice, how did you get out? Fuck you, that's how. Well then I want to recruit you to my cause. Destro said, sticking his hand out. I reach into my pocket and throw sawdust in his eyes. Mother. I grabbed his throat and raised him into the air. I don't care for your whole change the world bullshit, so leave me and my family alone. I say as he spoke up, you are making a huge enemy right now. I put him down and looked him directly in the eyes, taking my mask off. I'm just kidding. I don't care what you do. Ha ha ha. The look on your face right now. I laughed as he looked at me angrily. Though on a true note, stay away from them or you will get hunted by me. I put on my mask, walking away from them as I headed to the bar. I checked my phone for 2 weeks to get information so I could take my time. I gotta be early so I can see May using her babies in action, along with Himi. Nagant. I shouted, entering the apartment. A shoe hit my face. Nice to see you too. I say to the shoe, putting it down. I walked into the kitchen and opened the fridge. What to choose? Beer, beer and beer. Do you guys want to talk about this? No we don't. It's called Ladies' Night. Nagant says to me. Well, all I see is a liver and kidney failure. I muttered, getting hit with a stick. Move your ass, I want to drink. Al grumbled, walking past me. Okay, I have a mission. We find the League of Villains. Nagant asked. Yep. Well, we aren't in any luck then. I already searched, found nothing. Looks like they covered their tracks. Well, that sucks and really killed my mood. Might as well have fun. Ray, you want anything? I asked the newly black-haired lady. Oh, I need to get some new. I grab her hand and pull her. Great, let's go. I shouted as she just nodded. I'm coming too. I want to see the outside and chill for a bit. Nagant spoke up, putting on a tan coat. The more the merrier. Yeah, just leave my blind ass here. That's the plan, Al. Bye. I shout, shutting the door. Asshole. She muttered as she sat on the couch and smiled. Gotta love the kid. Izuku, slow down. Ray yelled as Izuku carried her. Nope. He shouted, jumping over a car. His body was outputting more strength than he was before. He is basically superhuman at this point, rivaling most strength enhancer quirks. Lady Nagant was right behind him, using a grappler that May made for better movement. So you took it? She asked as he smiled. Yep. It was painful, but very useful. He said, jumping off a roof he climbed. Ray screamed in terror as they fell, holding onto him tightly. He crashed onto the ground, crouching down. His legs didn't even break from the impact. See, Ray, we are all good. He said, smiling at her as she bursted out laughing. That was scary. But it's really fun. She spoke through her laughter as Nagant landed next to us. We came to a nice All Might festival and I slid one All Might themed mask on. Can't let people know who I am now, can I? I say. They both nod. We traveled through the entire festival, winning gun theme attractions with my expert aim. Say, Ray, you want that bunny? I ask her as she nods. Well then I shall grant her wish. I took aim at the many targets moving and shot every single one with pinpoint accuracy. Sir, can you and your lovely girlfriend please leave because you will put me out of business? The guy running the stall asked me. Sure, bud, didn't know I was that good. I wrap my arm around Ray as she holds her bunny close to her body. Her face was a deep crimson. Izuku, that man called me your girlfriend. She stuttered out. So, did you not want to be? I asked her as she looked at me. What about May? She said she's okay with sharing. I say as she looks away. I am too old for you. She said, tearing up. Izuku pulled her into a tight hug. You know I don't care for that. You could be a succubus or a demon that's about to marry Dracula and I would want to be with you. I said as she slid off my mask and pulled me into a kiss. Wow, Ray, here I thought you would never say your feelings. We both turned to see Nagant taking photos. Well, Suddenly the air began to hotter, like you ate a ghost pepper type of hot. Izuku. Chuya bellowed as he stomped towards me. Oh shit. I mean, hey bud, how are you? I shouted as Chitose made herself known. Why hello, it's been a while. She said, patting my shoulder. Why haven't you visited? She said as Chuya punched my face. That's what you get for getting killed and making me sad. Sounds reasonable. I say as my face heals instantly. Ray studied him and recognized him. She instantly gave him a tight hug, pissing Chitose off a bit, but she saw Izuku motion of hands. Mom? He asked as she nodded. Izuku, you got some explaining. He says, looking at me. Well, one day May and I decided to go to therapy. Well, I sort of made the guy quit 30 minutes in, so yeah. I broke out your mom because I felt like it. He nodded as he hugged her. Now this is a new story. Chitose said, taking out a notepad. Deadpool went to therapy and made the therapist quit. Gotta love it, she yelled. Sounds like a money maker. I say as she nods. Lady Nagant didn't think I would see the ex-hero here. Chitose said as Nagant glared at her. No talking about it, got it? Lady Nagant says, giving her a death stare. You got it, but what made you turn? She pointed at me while ruffling my hair. This lovable yet very annoying idiot. Ah, I love you too. I say as she nods. We spent the rest of the day having fun using Tuya's card. It was fun until he found out. He almost charred me with his blue flames. Soon we all went home with me and Ray taking a different direction. Ray, are you sure? Because I don't want to force you into anything. I say as she led the way. I want to prove my love for you, she said as we went to a certain hotel. In the morning we left and were banned for life, so mission accomplished. I stayed with the girls until the UA Sports Festival came around and we all dyed our hair green. I joined even though I already had green hair because I wanted to feel included. I begged, shut up you. I asked Nezu for the best seats tickets and Nezu just handed them over. May was nervous to say the least. She didn't know why she had the best gear because she made it. She was in shape because of the fact that Izuku wanted her to be safe in case he wasn't with her. Nagant taught her martial arts along with a way to use her quirk in a more offensive way. She was still in class as her teacher kept talking. She drowned the noise out with her thoughts. Izuku said he will be here to support, so that's a plus. I miss him. I haven't heard a word from him for 2 weeks. May thought and she clutched her stomach out of nervousness. May, she said, jolting up. Time to go to the stadium. Powerloader said as she nodded, grabbing her gear along with a case that she specifically made for this event. Hey May, how are you feeling? Toga said, appearing next to her. Fine, just nervous for some reason, she answered with Himiko smiling at her. Don't worry about it, you will do great and show the world who May Midoriya is. Himiko encouraged me. That ain't my name. Not yet, till Izubaby finally says the magic words. With you walking into a church in a beautiful white dress. Himiko said, imagining the scene. That is still a long way away from the fact everyone knows Izuku is Deadpool. May says, also imagining the scene. Who cares? What are they going to do? Kill him? Endeavor did that and look where we are now. Izuku is alive and breathing, waiting to see us perform our dreams. Himiko brought up some solid points. You're absolutely correct, still doesn't mean I can't be nervous. May says, tightening the straps of her gear. Then smile. Fake it until you actually feel confident. Himiko said, sipping a blood bag she got from nowhere. May nodded, walking down with the rest of her class and Toga. They avoided her for the fact that she is fiancé of Izuku aka Deadpool, public menace number 1. She doesn't care, she has her babies, family and Izuku that takes care of her. They exited the tunnel to reveal a massive crowd cheering for them. Alright, let's all calm down a bit and let the top year 1 student do his speech. Can Katsuki Bakugo please come to the podium? Midnight said through the microphone. He walked up to the podium and took the steps to the top. He gave a sinister smile that unnerved the crowd. Then he began to speak in a very loud voice. Bring it the fuck on. This shocked the crowd quite a bit for the fact it felt like a direct jab to the heroes in the crowd. He left the podium leaving an unamused Midnight. Moving on. The first event is an obstacle course. The higher your placement the more points you get. Midnight explained as all the students got to the starting line. Suddenly across the entire stadium hundreds of confetti cannons went off with the colors pink and yellow being the theme of the shredded paper. Go May, Himiko, Katsuki, Izuku shouted through a megaphone. With Lady Nagant, Rei, Mitsuki and Masaru doing the same. Izuku wore a disguise, his hair was all black and wore red contacts. His new name was Mikumo Midoriya, he insisted that be his new identity. Would you look at that crowd, the over-supportive family is back to cheer. Present Mike said in a cheery voice. Must they up the ante every year? Aizawa tiredly said looking at the cannons. Mei zoomed in to see her lover holding a sign only she could see. It read, "You can do it. I believe in you." Mei wiped a stray tear and got a determined face. She was going to go far in this tournament. Toga got determined too by proxy, finishing her blood bag. Well, what a lovely family filled with love. Midnight cued as she started the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. All the students began to run as chills went down their spines. Shoto instantly froze a lot of people in place. Mei activated her hover souls, avoiding the ice. She sped forward as she saw robots coming. She smiled madly as she opened the case she was carrying. She took out a huntsman-type rifle that she built. It glowed pink and had a light hum as it powered up. Mei reached into her satchel, pulling out a certain type of bullet. "Time to fuck shit up," she says, loading the bullet to the rifle. Taking aim using her quirk as the scope, then quickly did the math in her head, calculating the bullet trajectory. Pulling the trigger, a very loud gunshot could be heard across the stadium. Mei's bullet traveled fast, piercing through 3 1-pointers, then curved, hitting 4 3-pointers. The bots exploded as Mei continued forward. Izuku looked at the scene with amazement, then turned to Nagant, who was smiling deviously. "You did this on purpose," he said, turning back to see Mei absolutely shredding through the bots. She asked, so I said sure. Plus it's great to see the best marksman get outdone by his fiancé. She reminisced about training Mei to shoot. To be honest, she's natural, and within a couple years or so she will definitely join me in skill. Well, thanks, Izuku shouted as he pulled his parents into a hug. What is this about Mei being your fiancé? Mitsuki asked him. Let's get back to Mei's pav. Also, who are these green-haired wome? Mei stood in front, the last standing 0-pointer. That Shoto didn't knock over, so she aimed her gun at it, setting it to the highest power output. Wait, this is my toy, Himiko shouted, riding on top of 1-pointer. Using one of the bots as a ramp, she sped up, going up it. She launched off of it, heading straight towards the 0-pointer's face. She jumped off the 1-pointer, crashing through the eye of the 0-pointer. Time to take control of this baby, she shouted, overriding the entire robot, turning it into her personal mech. Looks like Mei also taught Himiko some tricks, Izuku said as Masaru held his wife from ripping Izuku's head off. For barely telling her about his engagement and the multiple women he is with. Izuku, you're just like your father, Masaru said to him. What do you mean I'm like my father? The very thing I didn't want you to turn into, Mitsuki roared, scaring everyone around them in the versus I.P. booth. I will tell you when you're older. Now is not the best time to do so, he calmly said as he held back his wife. Oh, okay then. Toga took full control of the 0-pointer with sparks flying around her. A small drone flew through the broken eye of the 0-pointer. It showed Toga to the crowd controlling her new mech. Hello, I am Toga Himiko, from Class 1B. Just watch me because I am going to be your little sweetheart, she said with cheer, then promptly destroying the drone. The 0-point began to steam and moved forward towards the next zone. Come on, my little iron giant, show mama some love, she shouted as it trudged forward faster. The students quickly moved out of the way of the mech, though some used it as their ticket to get ahead. I shall be on my way, Abara Shiozaki stated, using her thorny hair to climb aboard. This will be fun, Hiro, Tsuyu Asui stated, jumping onto her new ride. See, Himiko, babies are the way to go, Mei shouted, launching a hook at the mech. It quickly pulled her to the sky with the help of her hoverboots. She swung all the way to the head of the bot. She zoomed in to see Katsuki and Shoto Todoroki battling for the lead. The two have barely left the pitfall. Gotta win. What would Izuku do? She asked herself. What wouldn't he do? That's the better question. Focus, Mei, she yelled at herself. Taking out her rocket pack, she popped off the back and overrode the safety feature she placed. Closing it up, then placed it onto her back. Darling, gotta show you that I am just as crazy as you sometimes, she shouted, shooting 2 hooks onto the 0-pointer's head. She began to back up to the very edge of the head, sliding down her goggles and then taking a deep breath, letting her plan go into full action. Using her grappling hooks as a slingshot, she hopped into the air, letting them yank her ahead. She gained quite a lot of speed, launching off the mech's head. The wind blew into her face as she soared across the sky. Using her hoverboots to stabilize her midair, she smiled crazily. A smile filled with the madness that could rival Izuku's smile itself. She activated her newly unsafe jetpack that suddenly jerked her forward with great speed. She flew at great speeds forward, bursting her eardrums from the roar of the jetpack itself. Quickly overtaking the people ahead of her, she located Katsuki and Shoto as they were a quarter of the way into the minefield. Himiko saw Mei fly above her. Gotta love her for her creativity, but I want to win too. Himiko says, leaving the mech on autopilot towards the pitfall. By that she leaves the wires in a specific way so it works like a broken pair of headphones you don't want to replace because you're broke. She explored the zero-pointer's mechanical skeleton, taking what she needed. Gotta say this thing is pretty hollow compared to what it looked like from the outside. I think Nezu is being very cheap with these robots nowadays, she muttered to herself. From the stands Nezu sneezed. Someone must have found out one of my secrets, he said to himself. Don't you mean someone is talking about you? Izuku asked him as Nezu stayed silent watching the race. Okay then, I am going to get some snacks. Ray wanna come? He asked with Ray nodding. I'll tell you who wins, Nagant said out loud. Don't. I already know what will happen, but I don't want to spoil it, Izuku said to her while walking out. Does he always say things like that? Nezu asked. They all looked at him and nodded. Interesting. Himiko took 2 fuel canisters and made a makeshift shield. Gotta be like Mei and Izubaby. Explosive and have lots of things to say, she shouted, chucking the canister at the ceiling, exploding it to bits, making a huge hole in the head of the zero-pointer. Suddenly the mech irked forward and stopped moving. Himiko looked over to see the mech got stuck in the pitfall. It looked like it would soon swallow the zero-pointer whole. She smiled, taking out a blood bag and placed it into her mouth. Placing the highly explosive canister down, she backed up with her shield. Sprinting forward, she jumped up, slamming the shield onto the canister. From the outside another explosion went off, this time collapsing the zero-pointer forward. Its body made a bridge for the rest of the students, so they quickly made their way through the pitfall. Whoa, mighty explosion there. Now where is our little vampire? Mike spoke through the microphone. Ah, there she is, flying like a rocket. Himiko flew across the sky very quickly, though the one problem she had is one that Mei also had. The problem was how they were going to land. Mei unstrapped her jetpack, letting it fly into the sky where it soon blew up. Glad I took that off, she cheerfully said. Activating her hoverboots slowed her descent drastically. Toga's solution was more primitive, but was worth a shot. She drank the blood from the blood bag the moment she slammed onto the mine-filled ground. Another massive explosion is sending her ragdoll body forwards. She rolled past the exit of the minefield, with her entire skeleton broken in many places that were vital, along with many burns across her body, also followed by deep gashes. Though very quickly her body began to heal from her wounds. She got up as Mei zoomed past her with her hoverboots and grappling hooks that suspiciously look very similar to ODM gear from Attack on Titans. Zuzu, I love your wonderful blood, she shouted, running after Mei with Katsuki and Shoto behind her. The blood she drank was filled with Izuku's hyper-healing blood, one that could heal wounds if ingested or injected. Also for a short time make the said person stronger than the average person. Mei crossed the finish line with Toga close behind her. Katsuki got third with Shoto scowling at his placement being fourth. Izuku and Rei got lost trying to get to the snack bar. See, they won like I said, he stated to Rei, smiling while holding her arm. Izuku stopped to see a towering man in front of him with fire covering him. Rei hid behind Izuku as he smiled, looking at the said person. The man scowled at him as Izuku deepened his smile, making him look far more insane. Hello Enduhor. There is only one person that would ever have the balls to say that to me directly, he stated as his flames became brighter, glaring at Izuku. Deadpool. Right on the money, big boy. Mei made her team consisting of Uraraka, Bakugo and Toga. She was the rider with her rifle strapped to her back. Midnight started the round with everyone going after her. From her belt buckle she chucked smoke bombs. Gotta love the sight. Well, I do, because I can see you all, she shouted, activating her goggles infrared mode. Pink hair. I can't see shit, Bakugo shouted. Well, I can, so just follow my lead, she answered as Uraraka made them float. Activating her grappling hooks, they quickly made their way through air. They soon felt a sudden chill. Soon a massive iceberg pierced through smoke heading towards them. "Fuck off, icy hot!" Katsuki shouted, unleashing a massive explosion destroying the incoming attack. The smoke dispersed, showing Shoto's team that hardened looks, determined to take the 1 million band from Mei. Mei landed, unstrapping her rifle and loading a bullet in. "You guys think he is going to give us the cold shoulder?" Mei asked, with Katsuki and Himiko groaning at her joke. "I thought it was funny." Uraraka spoke up. "Good to know someone likes my jokes other than my fiancé," Mei said, patting her head. "Hey, let's deal with the emo popsicle first," Himiko stated as they rushed them. Mei shot her bullet, destroying an incoming attack of ice. "Looks like he is not much of a talker," Himiko shouted as they took off into the air again. All the teams were converging on them as Mei and her team continued to outmaneuver them. Izuku and Endeavor glared at each other. Endeavor towered over the smaller mercenary. His eyes shifted to the green-haired woman that was hiding behind Izuku. "Is she your woman?" Endeavor asked him, with Izuku responding. "She is. Why do you ask? Want tips on how to get one?" Endeavor's flames grew brighter and more vibrant. "No, I just need to make sure how much fire to hurt you only," he shouted, powering up an attack. Izuku picked up the scared Rei and ran down the hallway. "Don't run. My fire will still reach you," he bellowed, unleashing the flames. They flooded down the hall, scorching it. It chased Izuku as he looked for an exit for Rei to be safe. "He can take the fire, she can't. She has a cold resistance, meaning either she will get burned or she can summon cold enough ice to negate the heat. Not really trying to test that though. Don't worry, honey. I will put him in his place," Izuku assured her. "Don't get killed, please. I can't take it again," she whispered to him. "I promise, after this we can get some drinks, just me and you." She smiled as Izuku smashed through a side door with his back and slammed it shut. The fire passed him and ceased. "Stay here and I will come right back. Also hold these," he said, handing her his pants. She blushed and nodded as he left. Izuku dashed towards Endeavor as he shot more flames. "Burn. The gates of hell will see you again," he shouted as Izuku marched through the fire. "That won't work again, you flaming trash bag," Izuku shouted, hopping through the fire fully charred. His skin rapidly healed and regrew, as did his fluffy hair. "You will die again, Deadpool," Endeavor shouted, catching and grabbing Izuku's face and igniting his hand. The flames quickly changed from bright orange to bright blue. Izuku smashed his foot into Endeavor's chest, sending him flying back. "That fire won't kill me," Izuku shouted, regenerating from his wounds. "I am way past that. Not even a nuke will kill me," he boasted, with Endeavor sending another torrent of fire. Izuku shrugged it off. "Looks like someone doesn't like to learn," he said, annoyed as multiple wooden spikes pierced through him behind him. "Sorry, Endeavor. It took me a while to get your distress call. The rest will soon be here," Kamui Woods shouted, with Izuku turning his head to him. "Bro, I'm not a vampire, so don't stake me through the heart." Izuku rotated his entire body, then slammed his knee into Kamui's mask, launching him back. "I got a game to watch, so get out of my way," Izuku yelled as some more heroes came. "See? You guys are so unimpressive the author didn't name you," he shouted, running at them. Mei shot another bullet, destroying Momo's creations as Bakugo blasted Dark Shadow away from them. Himiko used a dropped staff from Momo to fend away Monama. "Why are you with Class 1A trash?" he shouted at her. "'Cause I can make my own choices, you narcissistic prick," she shouted at him. Uraraka threw up sparkles and rainbows, making people avoid her because they didn't want to get barfed on them. "Ew. Is that her quirk?" Mei chuckled as the timer rang, meaning the round ended. "Time's up. Looks like we win." Mei gloated as they glared at her. Uraraka kept throwing up, so Mei picked her up bridal style. "Let's go, Barfy." To the nurse, she shouted, using her hoverboots to speed off. They soon make it and Mei places Uraraka down on a bed, handing her a bucket. "Gee, thanks, Bleghar," Uraraka spoke, then promptly throwing up in the bucket. "It's no probable." Mei started to talk until a cane smashed her shin. "Idiot girl, I told you take it easy," Recovery Girl shouted at her as Mei rolled her eyes. Recovery Girl sees this and hits her shin again. "Hey, stop that. I am fine." "The hell you are. You are using a high-powered rifle to fight." The amount of recoil your body is taking is not good for the. May cuts her off. I am fine. That's why I added extra padding for my clothes just in case. May says as recovery girl shook her head. Uraraka finally stopped throwing and talked. Hatsume, are you? Yes, don't tell him yet, I want it to be a surprise. May says, holding her stomach. Not yet. Izuku smashed the last hero's face to the wall as Endeavor smashed his fist into Izuku's face. You're lucky I stopped killing, Izuku said, getting up naked because Endeavor burned away his clothing. You are a monster. One that should be put down. Once you're down I will personally burn you to the last scrap of DNA, he shouted, pissing Izuku off. Izuku smashed his fist into Endeavor's jaw. Endeavor countered by grabbing Izuku's head and repeatedly smashing it into the wall, cracking it. Izuku twisted his entire body from the neck down, landing a high kick square to his chin, knocking Endeavor back, giving Izuku time to twist head back into place. Endeavor was bruised and bloody while Izuku was regrowing his cracked skull and covered in blood that was not his. You will die one day, Deadpool. Endeavor said, I may not be the one to do it, but it will happen. Sure it will, and on that day I will send you a friend request. Death knows you need some. Izuku countered, then getting lit on fire again, burning away the blood on him. Suddenly a loud bang could be heard as Endeavor fell forward. Izuku looked to see his blonde lover with a folded chair in her hands. Hey Zuzu. Toga shouted, stepping over the knocked out heroes. You've been busy. Yeah, before you say anything, I didn't start it. I mean, I did call him a name that sold me out, so yeah. He started it for sure, he said, scratching his head. She looked down to see that he was fully naked. She smiled a bit. They walked down the hall after leaving a little note on Endeavor saying that, I am banging your wife. Soon they make it to Ray as the door swung open, making Ray jump up. You took a while? Ray stammered out as Toga smiled. Zuzu, we're on break for 45 minutes, so we got some time. Himiko stated, taking off her UA blazer with Ray taking off her shirt as well. Izuku looked at them up and down, then decided his choice. Okay, only 20 minutes. May walked through the halls to find the snack bar. She was starving and was beginning to have weird cravings like jalapenos covered in mustard. It was all weird to her. She followed the signs and took a turn bumping into some familiar people. She looked at them and only thought of a couple words. Oh, fuck off. Izuku finished with a satisfied Ray and Himiko looking at him. That was great, he said, putting his pants on. Hey, let's go get some food, he says. No thanks Zuzu, I am already full. I am just going to use the showers. Ray, wanna come? Himiko asked with Ray nodding. Okay then, Izuku said as they limped away. At least I got readers with me, he muttered, trying to find the snack bar. May looked at the said people that were supposed to be her parents and siblings. Her father had an enraged face with her mother having a stern one right behind him. Her siblings had snide faces that pissed May off. The constant face that they've made towards her since their quirks came. You are coming home right this second, her father stated. No, May answered back. I am your father and what I say goes, he said, gritting his teeth, trying not to yell. Yeah, May. We missed you, her sister said with an underlying tone of sarcasm. Honey, give up on this fever dream. You don't have a quirk suited for inventing or being a hero. Just come home, we will pay for any school you want, her mother stated in a tone that lacked any sincerity. May looked at them and sighed. First off, mind my language. Fuck no, she said, flipping them off. I am going to follow my dreams and I don't need a quirk to do it. I am going to be the greatest inventor. That is not how you talk to me, young lady, her father shouted at her. Okay, whatever you say, sperm donor. You can't talk to your father like that, her egg donor spouted. The hell I can't. Ever since I got my quirk you treat me like a lesser person, May shouted at them. No we didn't. Yes. You did, don't deny it. You shattered my dreams, you gave my room away to my shit siblings and put me in a dirty ass garage that had no air conditioning. May shouted at them. I got less food, sometimes you didn't even give food. I learned to build with no help and built everything I need from scraps. My siblings got the love I wanted because they got better quirks. The moment I got mine you forgot about me. I bet that you don't know my interests, hobbies or my damn birthday. May screamed at them as tears streamed from her eyes. May, her sperm donor, tried to talk with May, cutting him off. You know what? I don't need you, I don't need anything from you. I got my dream life already, so any bullshit you say will not change mine. She shouted at them. The only thing that connects us is blood. Hell, even my last name is not even related to you guys. The last statement shocked her parents. May, you didn't. Her mother spoke up. She showed them the ring. I got married to a wonderful person and took me out of your hell hole you call a home. May lied to piss them off more for the fact that she wasn't married yet. Her father remembered seeing a single person that has ever come over for May. He had green hair and bright green eyes with a vulgar sense of humor. That boy. He took you. Her father shouted. Yep. Now I am happy to call myself May Midoriya Bakugo, she stated, wiping her tears away. You got married. Her mother shouted. That what I just said, dumbass, May retorted. Can y'all fight somewhere else because I am starving for a chimichanga? They turned to see Izuku wearing just a pair of pants. Oh hey Pinkie Pie. Let's get some food, he says, rushing to her, giving her a kiss. You, me, Izuku questioned. You took her from us. Her father stated. Hold up. Who are you? I am May's sperm donor. May cut in with Izuku getting the situation. Oh, you bunch of monsters, Izuku said in a cheery tone. Let's go May. Izuku got cut off as May's brother grabbed him. You can't leave. She belongs to us. We're her family, he said in a demanding voice that sounded like a spoiled brat. Izuku sighed as he wanted to smash the guy's face into the wall. You are a cutie. How about you take me instead of my sister? Her sister said in a seductive tone. No thanks, Botox. Let's get this crystal clear. You are not her family. She is my family, my world and my partner. You don't deserve her, Izuku said to them. The brother tried to punch him with his noodle arms. Self-defense. Magical punch, Izuku shouted, kicking the brother in the balls. That sent him to the ground groveling. Honey, that was a kick, May said, trying not to laugh. That's what makes it magical. May took a step forward. If you really want to be in my life, then answer my questions. If you're correct, then I will let you in. If not, go fuck yourselves, she stated as her parents nodded. When is my birthday? December 22nd. What's my favorite drink? Coffee. What was my first dream? Easy to be an inventor. May wiped a tear away. Wrong. All of them were wrong. My birthday is April 18th. My favorite drink is chocolate milk. My first dream, you bastards shattered, was to be a hero on the day I got a quirk. I asked you simple questions any parents should know, so stay out of my life, she shouted at them, walking away. Izuku stayed watching them. She went missing for 5 years when we were 13. Not once did you ever try to find her. Hell, the cop that gave the noise warnings looked for May. You're all terrible people that gave up on their daughter. It's too late for forgiveness, Izuku said calmly, even though he wanted to torture them. Brutality. May wouldn't want it, so he didn't. He ran to her and picked her up. When I finally marry you, I will make you the happiest woman alive, Izuku declared to her. I already am, she said, kissing his cheek. Man, her family is as bad as those Izuku Yagi stories I read. Minus the abuse, because if they did that to her I would have done something very, very, very unthinkable, he thought, holding his lover. Hey May, I noticed that you got heavier, Izuku said as May's face turned bright red. I got a secret to tell you, she whispered, so I leaned in and she told me a secret. You're what? Izuku immediately put May down, much to her dissatisfaction. She liked being carried by him. He got down on his knees and placed his head on her stomach. Izuku, it's only been a couple weeks, May says, hugging his head. May felt her shirt dampen. Honey, are you crying? She asked. Yes, I am. I am going to be a father. I am just so happy, I said, wiping my tears away as they kept pouring. It's our baby that we made together. Looks like we finally made a real baby, May said, pulling me into a kiss. Quick question. Who is telling Mom? I asked as she pointed at me. I am going to get killed, I stated, knowing my mom's rage. And I don't think Dad can help me. I picked up May again and made our way back to the versus seat, where I promptly reveal the pregnancy to Rei, Toga, Katsuki, Nagant, Dad and Mom. Let's just say it didn't go over well with her. May, honey, we have to get the wedding underway. I got the perfect dress. I designed it years ago just for you. Mitsuki yelled as a bloodied Izuku laid in the corner. Rei and Toga started to help plan the venue and the theme. Katsuki and Nagant just recorded the scene. Masaru smiled as he wished that Inko and Hisashi were there. For a split second he felt two familiar presence behind him. He didn't look and smiled as he felt a pair of hands on his shoulders. Will the participants of the next round come to the field? Midnight said through the mic. Well, I have to go win this shit, Katsuki shouted, getting smacked by Mitsuki. Bye Zuzu, wish us luck. Himiko kissed him then dragged Mei with her. Izuku got up and wiped the blood off. Then smiled a smile that was not filled with madness, rather pure optimism. I am going to be a father, he stated as tears fell again. Mitsuki hugged him. You will be a great one. Like hell I will let you be a bad one, she stated as he smiled. I am scared. What if I am a bad one? What if someone goes after her? Izuku thought, knowing his life would put her in constant danger. Hey, is it too late to get the milk? He asked his dad, who proceeded to laugh. No it's not, but I don't think Mitsuki would allow you. He chuckled as the two of them felt a murderous aura behind them. Izuku, don't even try it because I will personally send you to your father, she said with a calm tone that scared him. It's a joke, we got milk at home. Mei walked onto the arena with her gear strapped on, to see a certain speedster that stared at her angrily. Alrighty. Let's begin the first fight. On one corner we have Class 1A Tenya Iida. Present Mike shouted into his mic. On the other hand we have the support class star pupil and most destructive, Mei Hatsu. Wait, oh okay. But you owe me. Mei Midoriya Bakugo. Present Mike shouted as Mei smiled brightly. Midnight walked up. Okay. No taking it too far, and if you step out of the ring you are out, Midnight informed as the two nodded. Begin. Iida sped forward towards Mei as she stood still. He went for a high kick and Mei smiled. Self-defense, she sang, pulling the trigger to her high-powered rifle. The gun was aimed at the ground. The recoil of the rifle sent it directly into Iida's balls. He fell over holding them while every man in the stadium felt his pain. Ha 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 ha. Good going, babe, Izuku shouted as he left the announcer's booth. Sorry Mr. Roboto, I gotta make my lover laugh, Mei said, picking up Iida over her head with ease. She dropped him out the ring as he trembled on the ground. Looks like Mei here used a certain male weakness to win. So we have a winner, Midnight shouted as the crowd gave her small claps. Mei proudly walked off wearing her win on her sleeve. Gotta say I am on a roll today. Minus the shitty family reunion, Mei happily said to herself, and Himiko passed her. Wish me luck, she said. You don't need it. Go kick ass, Mei shouted. Thanks. I love you, Himiko shouted, turning around to run. I love you as well, Himi, Mei said, walking away. Himiko blushed and smiled as she entered the arena to see Kaminari. Hey, after this you wanna go on a date? He asked as a red dot appeared on his forehead. Himiko turned to see Izuku holding a sniper with Mei holding her rifle as well, aiming at him. He begins to sweat profusely. It was a joke, he shouted, waving around his arms. Begin. Sorry if this hurts. Full release, Kaminari shouted, releasing a bunch of electricity heading straight towards Himiko. She gets shocked as the electricity courses through her body. It was littered with multiple lightning scars. The crowd grew quiet as Himiko ran towards the brain-dead Kaminari. Her skin rapidly healed and she slammed her fist into this gut, sending him flying out the ring. Kaminari got up with a derpy face on. Yeah, he said, giving a thumbs up. Himiko raised her fist into the air as the crowd cheered. How did you like that? Wasn't it spectacular? Himiko shouted as the crowd yelled in response. She left the ring as her body fully healed over. Gotta say I'm so happy you won that, Izuku said at the end of the tunnel. Like my little trick? She asked as he nodded. By drinking your blood earlier it gave me your healing for a bit. Too bad it doesn't come with a numbing agent, she explained, biting into his shoulder. It makes me thirsty though. I need to get some clothes. I am just wearing pants in full commando, but it feels nice, Izuku says. After 10 minutes he hears a massive explosion go off. How is that, you steel bastard? Colossus is in this universe, he asked as he looked at a screen to see Katsuki launching the Kirishima knock off the ring. Man, I really did get excited, he whined as he felt a hand on his ass. Izuku looked over to see a very lust-filled Himiko. When I said thirsty it meant both the terms. She says, biting her lip. Okay, Izuku said as they went to an empty room. Mei watched as Shoto Todoroki beat Zero in one shot, looking very angry. Looks like Frosty the emo snowman is mad, Mei shouted while eating some French fries. Mitsuki was calling multiple people, yelling at her phone with demands. Phew. That's all taken care of. We got the place, the theme, and food. We need guests and people to invite. Also, what type of cake? Mitsuki asked her, coffee or chocolate? Either one is good, Mei shouted as she saw someone float away. Looks like Kirishima is out by Class 1A Uraraka, who defies the laws of physics. That was one long fight, folks. Now for the next match. Present, Mike shouted as the crowd exploded in cheers. Hubbard Head and Spiral Hair Girl are fighting. Wonder who wins? Mei shouted, writing down some suit upgrades. She zoomed into the fight to see Momo making a shield. Welp, she is going to lose. The best chance she has is to make flash bangs or a flamethrower. Mei shouted, thinking about quirk upgrades. Yaoyorozu is out of bounds. Midnight shouted with Momo looking down, seeing that she was over the line. I really lost that fast, she thought as she walked down the hall to see a bite-filled Izuku exit a room with Toga leaving as well. Oh hey, how was the... Oh, you lost. How did you know? She asked. The tears, he said as Momo realized and wiped them away. I got the perfect fix, he shouted, picking her up. Wait, Izuku didn't listen to her pleas. He jumped from side to side against the walls. At a very fast speed, soon he landed, coming to a complete stop. How do you feel now? Confused. Why did you do that? To make you stop being sad. Duh. Izuku says, putting her down. She didn't feel sad anymore, just overall confused why the most feared murderer is so carefree. Why did you help? 'Cause I wanted to, of course. He isn't as bad as he proclaimed in the media minus the murder. Momo thought as Shoto came out of nowhere. He slammed his hand to Izuku's throat, freezing it over. His face was filled with rage, with little sparks of fire coming off of him. Where is my mother? He ordered as Izuku laughed. You found your beat-up dad. I thought you would be happy about it, Izuku said as Momo shoved Shoto to the side, releasing Izuku. Stay out of it, Shoto shouted, freezing Momo still. Shoto looked at her shocked. He looked at his hands as he began to shake a bit. Izuku became enraged and slammed his fist into Shoto's jaw, knocking him out, also sending him through the wall. Don't touch her, he shouted at the knocked out Shoto. He turned to Momo. Sorry for this, he said, kicking her, shattering the ice off her. You good? He asked Momo. She nodded. What about his mother? Oh, that I am dating his mother, he said nonchalantly. I can see why he did that to you, Momo says, sweat dropping at his sudden change in moods. This is Endeavor. Deadpool is in the stadium. Hunt him down. Any civilians, leave for your own safety, Endeavor shouted into the mic. That message relayed through the entire stadium. Everyone began to panic and the students sat still. The hell did that idiot do this time? They all thought. Well shit. Okay. Momo sweetie, I need a favor, Izuku asked with Momo nodding. I need my suit and I will owe you. Sure thing, Midoriya, Momo said, helping him out. He quickly put on the suit along with a badge she also made. He ran towards the arena. Why didn't he have underwear? Momo thought as her cheeks flushed red. Hey, flaming trash bag. I am right here, I shouted, getting the attention of the entire crowd. With hundreds of heroes jumping down surrounding me. Wow, so many fans. Who wants an autograph? I yelled out as they looked at me apprehensively. Gotta say one thing. I love all you equally, so just line up for my signature, I say as Death Arms stepped up. Okay big boy, where do you want it? You can't possibly be this stupid, he grunted. I point my finger at him. Don't underestimate me. The heroes looked at me with pure hatred. What? No autographs? How about a picture with your favorite? I get punched by Death Arms. I touch my cheek as my bruise heals. My mother can hit harder than that, I say, remembering her fist of love, and yes, that is a One Piece reference. The heroes all charge at me. Now this is a fair fight, I shouted, running at them, jumping into the air. I charge my bat back as I land into the crowd of heroes. Ha 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 ha, this is fun, I shouted, getting hit a lot. Cut. Okay. After talking to the creator of this book, I was told that a battle with that many heroes would take too many chapters. To complete the entire fight or just a very long chapter that would have taken days to complete. So to stay on schedule we are skipping it, so yeah. I say as Nezu. Ray and All Might sit across from me. You done? Nezu asked. I had to inform them. I say as Nezu shakes his head. Can you tell me what went wrong? He asked. It all started when I was born. Not that. I mean what went wrong with the sports festival. Nezu says with All Might nodding. I ran into Endeavor and he instantly attempted to roast me and my lover. So I beat his ass and his cronies. I say with Nezu nodding to my words. This lover of yours just so happens to young Todoroki's mother. All Might spoke up pointing at Ray. Yes, she is very lovely and caring of me. I state as she nods. I thought that you were with young Hatsume or young Toga. All Might say confused. I am with all three. They agreed, so now I am the lover of three beautiful women. Ah, okay. But you do know the emotional problem you've caused to the Todoroki family? Nezu asked me. I plan to deal with it eventually after all the pieces have fallen into place. Nezu nodded, touching his scar a bit. Well, for now the school is on break for a week or so from your actions. Nezu said as I got up to leave with Ray. I shut the door and we walked in silence. Do you think Shoto hates me? She asked in a worried voice. Hate you? No, but he might hate his new stepdad. I said, pulling her into a side hug. Ray smiled. I am glad I fell in love with you and that you accepted me even at my age. She says, leaning her head on my shoulder. Don't use age as a way to not find love. I say, looking at my phone to see the news. Deadpool fights hundreds of heroes and is able to escape after multiple flashes of light. I have to thank Momo for that. A proper gift should do. I think as we enter the dorms and I see an icy boy. Hey son, wanna play some ball? I shouted as he socked me in the face. I get it. I'm the stepdad you're supposed to hate. Shut up. Where is my mother? You took her. My shit, dad told me. He shouted repeatedly, slamming his fist into my face. Ow, that hurts. You were so going in time out. I shouted, catching his fist. Shoto. Please, stop. Ray shouted, catching his attention. He looked at a similar green-haired woman. His memories flashed back to his childhood looking at her. Her green hair turned white and Shoto recognized her as his mother. She hugged him. I am so sorry, Shoto. I should have been a stronger mother for you and your siblings. Ray cried, holding him tightly. And no, it's his fault for what happened to us. Shoto muttered as he hugged back. No, the blame also falls on me for being so weak. Taking out my phone, I took a picture of the scene. Cute family moment. I thought as Toga and Mei walked to my side. Ozuzu, you sure know how to cause a scene. Himi says with Mei nodding. Hey, aren't the internships supposed to happen soon? I asked with Toga nodding. Yeah, they were supposed to happen after the sports festival, but someone sort of ruined it. Jiro chimed in, grabbing a drink from the fridge. My bad, but it was fun, right? I asked as she nodded. Okay. Class, as you know, we usually would have had internships by now, but someone had to ruin it. Aizawa said, looking directly at me. Hey, he started it, not me. I say, dodging a chair he chucked. Well, either way, after this week you all will have internships. He tiredly states as I raise my hand. Yes. Can anyone intern with me? Technically I am more skilled than the average hero. I state as he thinks about it. Sure. Ah, dang it. I thought he would say wait. You said yes. I shout in surprise. Just don't get them killed because that is too much paperwork for me. He says, turning into a caterpillar and slithering away. Ray and Shoto sat at the table catching up over tea. I smiled at the development. Who wants to intern with me? I asked as mostly everyone backed up a couple steps. Don't take it the wrong way, bro, but we don't really trust you with our lives. Siro spoke up with everyone nodding. Suddenly Jiru ran down the stairs with a hastily packed bag and was out of breath when she got to me. When do we leave? She shouted with an excited voice. Jiro, it's a very bad idea, you might die. Mina said in a worried voice. So, this is a Deadpool adventure. Anything can happen. I am not passing this up. She says excitedly. At least I got my #1 fan with me. I thought as I got my bag from my room. Mei, is my teleporter ready? I asked as she nodded. I carried her to the support lab because she asked me. She was in her 6th week of pregnancy, so I guess she is taking full advantage of it. Jiro followed, carrying our bags. We entered and I put her down. Hey earphone girl, step outside for a bit. I need to talk to him privately. May said with an underlying tone that meant I was in danger. She instantly got the message and left quickly, then shutting the door behind her, with it locking tightly. Honey, but what's going on? I asked, scared of her answer. You cheated on me, you no good piece of shit. She shouted at me, throwing a screwdriver at me that I dodged. I have no idea what you're talking about. I shouted, dodging a helmet. Oh really? Why yes. Then what the fuck is this? She yelled, pulling up an image of me at the sports tournament surrounded by heroes. I don't get it. I say, confused. She then zooms in on me in the image. I never made that suit. It can't be a spare because you destroyed it at the USJ. She yelled at me, chuckling a wrench. So WHO is the skank you cheated on me with, huh? She screamed as tears flooded out of her eyes. Is my gear not good enough? She cried, falling to her knees. I really tried to make all your gear. But it seems that whore made better gear than me. That's why you used it. She cried. Is the pregnancy doing this, or is she really upset about me using someone else's gear? I hold her tightly. I only use Momo's suit because it was the only one nearby. I admitted. So that's the bitch trying to take my first and only client. May shouted, switching from crying to full-on rage. I will show her. Trying to take my clients. May yelled, trying to get out of my arms to grab her rifle. May, please stop. No, you promised I would be your only support technician. You cheating support items whore. May yelled at me. She then started to cry again. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, Izuku. It's just you cheated on me and my babies. She sobbed. Momo's suit is nothing compared to yours. It was just a one-night stand, I swear. Please stop crying. Just give me another chance. It will never happen again. I pleaded as she stopped crying. Pinky promise. May said, sticking out her pinky finger. Pinky promise. I say, interlinking our fingers. She leaned in and gave me a deep kiss. If you ever cheat on me and on my babies again, you will know what it means to sleep on the couch. Are we clear? She whispered into my ear in a menacing voice. Crystal. She got up and my gear was placed on the table. God, that was hot, I thought as I hid my boner. The teleporting watch only has one leap, so wait till it's fully charged to go. Also, I added another feature, it's a bit glitchy, so wait to use it. May said, switching moods again back to her normal self. Jiro opened the door to see that the lab was a total mess. Are we good now? She asked as May nodded. I grabbed my bag and placed my gear inside. She walked in and another person came in. I recognized the said person. Holy shit. Abara Shiozaki. I shouted, pulling her into a hug. She looked at me confused, then in her eyes it showed she realized who I was. Izuku Midoriya Bakugo. So good to see you again. She says, returning the hug. Has Genton showed up again? I asked. She shook her head. No. Haven't seen him. That's thanks to you, my hero. What did I tell you? I am not a hero. I say as she smiled. But you're mine. My teleporting watch began to spark out of control. He picked up the watch as it sparked. May? I asked as a light engulfed me. I suddenly appeared in the sky, falling towards a random island. I land into a massive lake, so I swim up to see a couple more splashes next to me. They soon appear above water to reveal Jiro and Shiozaki. Looks like we started our adventure. I say, Jiro, cheers. This is going to be fun. She said as Shiozaki looked terrified. This is going to be fun. I shouted as I saw a shark fin going towards us. Uh-oh. May stood there as her lover disappeared from her eyes in a flash of light. It must have accidentally gone off. It only had one charge. May said, still watching the spot, hoping he would come right back. She then checks the GPS to find it completely offline. Must have short-circuited. I knew I should have fully waterproofed it. Stupid, stupid, stupid. May called herself. She checked the last known location to see it lead to the middle of the ocean. He has infinite stamina and the two girls are with him. He would have to swim many miles before reaching land. Could take days or weeks before I can see him again. May muttered, looking down. He promised to always come back, so I have to trust him. May said, mounting a wrist computer to her arm. It would send her the exact location the moment the teleporting watch went back online. Izu knows my tech, so if anybody could fix it's him. Mei says, leaving to inform Nezu and Aizawa on the current predicament. Izuku grabbed Jiro and Shiozaki. We're getting the fuck out of here. He shouted, swimming towards the shore. Holy shit, that's a shark. Jiro shouted. Do not use the lords, not the time for that. I shouted, speeding up. The fin sped up, chasing after us. Quit chasing or you soon to be shark fin soup fucker. I yelled as my feet hit the lake floor. Picking up the girls by the waist, I trudged through the water. Making it to land, I see the fin still heading towards us. Ha, dumb shark is going to beach itself. I shouted as the girls caught their breaths. I see the small shark head pop out from the water. Huh, it looks cute. I said as it marched onto land. Now I am confused. I say, looking at the creature. It was clearly a shark similar to a great white, but the thing that make it weird is the fact it has 4 legs instead of fins. It was breathing air as well, even though it has gills. I crouched down. Oh, aren't you a cutie? I say, trying to pet it only for the shark. Well, it's not in water, so I should make a new name. Land shark fits perfectly. Well, to put it simply, the land shark bit off my hand. Huh, I say, looking at my stub. Bad land shark. I yell at it as it gives me a sad face on the verge of tears. Wait, don't cry. I say, petting it with my other hand only for the land shark to bite it off. Mother, I am going to kick you very far away. You Jaws wannabe. I shouted, standing up, charging my leg. It tilts its head, then looks at Jiro and books it to her. MRRR, it said, inspecting her. Hi, Sharky, she said as it licked her face. Sexist much, like I get my hands bitten off and she gets a lick. I am ashamed of you. I say to the shark. Jiro hugs the shark that it gladly accepts. Quote ... I will kill anything that tries to hurt you. Jiro stated, hugging the shark tightly. That includes you, she said, pointing her jacks at me. Do you mind telling me what is going on? I am very confused and concerned. Shiozaki said, covering her wet cloths with her vines. Well, I don't know. My watch here teleported us here. It only had 1 charge and we used it. So we are stuck for the foreseeable future. I admit taking it off. I see that our bags are floating, so I dive back into the water, retrieving them. Why did this happen? All I wanted was some costume upgrades. Shiozaki says, putting her head down. Meanwhile with Mei, she looked up quickly. Is there something wrong, Hatsume? Nezu asked her. Number. I just felt a missed opportunity for upgrades. Mei cryptically said as Nezu looked at her. Back to the adventure. I got back to shore to see the girls hugging the shark. You need a name, Jiro said as it tilted its head. MRRRR. Jeffrey. Will work and we will call you Jeff for short. Jiro said as the newly dubbed Jeff licked her face. That's a great name. Jeff the land shark. It just makes sense, #1 fan. I say as she smiled at me. How do we leave this place? Shiozaki asked. I have no idea. My GPS is busted and my 1 ticket out of here is busted until I fix it. I say as she nodded. Then I heard all their stomachs rumble. Looks like you guys are hungry. I said as they nodded with blush-filled faces. Well, it's a good thing that I always bring food. I say, pulling out a couple bags of dehydrated food. You two split it for yourselves. Then what will you eat? Shiozaki asked. I won't. My regeneration keeps me alive, so I don't really need to eat or even sleep. I said, collecting some wood to make a campfire. Wait, you don't have to eat. Jiro asked me as I shook my head yes. During my time being tortured I only ate a couple times out of 10 years. Oh, you poor thing, Shiozaki said, pulling me into a hug. It's fine, I am over it, except for the doctor I am hunting. Wait, if your quirk doesn't run on nutrition, what does it run on? She asked, taking out a notebook from nowhere. My hopes, rage, and dreams. Hey, I am being serious here. Mostly every single region quirk runs on how much fat or food you have in your body. So when you get hurt it consumes it to heal the said wound. She explained region quirks to me. Well, you want to learn a secret that you two have to keep. I say as they nodded. I don't have a quirk per se, I have a mutated gene that the doctor called the X gene. Sounds edgy. That's what I said. Well, as far as he knows, I am the only one in the world with it. That's why I was kidnapped. I take out my trusty Endeavor lighter and light the fire for us. It was night already and I could see the forest behind us was much livelier than it seemed. It's a great thing I got a sleeping bag from Eraserhead as a sorry for using his quirk on me. Though it didn't really work. The two of you share, I'll keep watch, I say as the two hopped in. Soon slumber soon took them, so I watched over just in case. Jeff was snuggled beside them, curled like a dog. So I continued to work on the watch to get them home. I need better tools and I doubt this uninhabited island has any good ones. I muttered, reaching for my phone and not feeling it in my pocket. My phone. I left it on the counter in the support lab. I hope May doesn't check it, I say, worried on what she would find. I get up sensing someone else watching, well, other than the readers that leave nice comments sometimes. I stare into the forest, grabbing my katana. I see hundreds of yellow glowing eyes staring right back at me. I guess we aren't alone. Izuku got up and steadied his blade. Out from the forest, monsters ran out towards me. Suddenly they all stopped and split apart to reveal a massive green giant. The hell is that? Wait, only no one. Oh my god, it's the Hulk. I shouted as it roared and slapped him with a tail into a tree. Wait, he didn't have a tail unless it was his. You know what, it's not the Hulk, I decided, jumping at it with my swords drawn back. It guards itself with scale-covered arms only for my blades to cut through like butter. I slam my foot into its chest, breaking its ribs. It roars, ripping my arm clean off, so I kick a grenade into its mouth. It blows and all it does is cough smoke. Now that is bullshit, I say as my arm regrows. The monster looked reptilian and plant-like, so it was really hard to give the monster a name. Like Swamp Thing. Wait, that's DC, but it works so much. The lizard. Nope, not my villain. That belongs to my favorite hero, I say with multiple vines entangling me. Well, my costume does look like his and I am a huge fan, even loving his fanfic venomized version that is technically me, I say, thinking out loud as it tries to grab me again. Flipping to the side while stabbing its side. It roars in pain, so I shove it deeper with an axe kick. I pick up a boulder and repeatedly bash it down on its head till all there's left is smooshed brain matter. Well, the lizard or the Hulk wouldn't have died like this, so it's neither. Anyone else? I asked as the monsters bowed. Huh. They then picked me up and threw me into the air. New king. New king, they chanted as I was flung into the air. Jiro woke up and looked at the scene. What is happening? She asked, confused, with Shiozaki questioning it as well. I think I just became a king, I shouted. Oh, that's cool. Well, good night, Jiro said, going back to sleep with Shiozaki. Here I thought my biggest fan would care more. Then again, she is very tired from today, I say as I get put down. So what do I call you guys? I asked. Well, we all live here and we call ourselves monsters. Oh, okay. Then you mind telling me why am I king? Also no take backs. I am already king. A dog-like person stepped up. The one who beats the previous king gets to be in charge of us. Our parents all got here many years ago and we've been stuck ever since. He spoke as I listened. Any way out? By boat? No. The storm that covers this land prevents any leaving. So you so-called monsters live here in harmony? I asked as they nodded. Well, there's the occasional massive sea creature that tries to eat us. I look around to see a large array of so-called monsters. So you all call yourselves monsters? Yes, sir, they chanted. Please, my father is called sir. I am just Deadpool, also a so-called monster in the eyes of some people, I stated as they nod. Yes, sir, Deadpool. I grin, seeing the fun I could do with this. Can you show me where the throne is? I asked. Yes, I can. A very fella said. He almost looked like a ball of very fluffy hair. I picked up Jeff and the two sleeping girls and followed the fuzz ball. One of you get my gear, I need it for later, I ordered as a rock golem monster did the task. As I entered the forest, I saw a complete town filled with life and agriculture. Though a single match would burn it all down, but why would I do that? I am the king now. Entering a massive tree, I saw a massive throne within. If you are wondering, one of our previous kings was a massive tree. We're inside him right now. Don't say it like that. Say it with more pizzazz and glamour, I say as he nodded. I place down my sleep companions and I sit upon the throne. This is very uncomfortable. We'll make you one for your size. Since you're one of our smaller kings. The fuzzball said, rolling away. Mutant types that don't know their real origin in this world. Well, at least these people live in harmony. I thought as Jiro walked up to me and sat down. Quite the upgrade. She was amused by the situation. One day here and you're king. Gotta say our friends wouldn't believe it. Well, this place seems peaceful. I say, so are you going to burn it down? She asked. I was just thinking about it. I thought so. Hee hee, Jiro chuckled as Jeff snuggled close to her. Can you help me with a hero name? She asked me as I looked at her confused. Why me? Well, you are my greatest source of inspiration for being a hero, well after the incident. She muttered, when you almost committed suicide. She looked down. Why did you have to mention it? Well, I tried to do the same with Endeavor. It worked for a bit till I came back. I admitted. Well, at least we have something in common. I say in cheerful voice. Yay, she uttered in a small voice. Look on the bright side. I can train you here along with Ibara. I am an expert fighter along with marksman. Because in this world a lot of our problems and quirks can be dealt with guns. She smiled. MRR. Jeff said. You're hungry, let's see if there's any food. Jiro said, walking away. Ibara walked up behind me and sat down next to me. The Lord shall be happy to see this peaceful place. She said as I smiled. You okay? I asked. I am worried for the others wondering where I went. They'll be fine and so will you. Thanks again for what you did for me. She says, sighed, hugging me. I thought I could handle Jiden's constant harassment, but I didn't think he would attempt to touch me. She said, leaning her head on my shoulder. I patted, getting pricked by her hair. If he did, he wouldn't be alive. Wait, I would have killed if you didn't tell me not to. You have a kind heart, but don't let it blind you as you grow. I say as she nods. Jiro and the fuzzball comes back. Then I saw what I was waiting for. It was a golden throne with red seat cushions. The gold was lined and encrusted in emeralds. On the throne was a golden crown and a red robe that looked great. I walked up and placed the robe on my shoulders and the crown onto my head. Now I am starting to feel like a king. This shall be a great time for my new kingdom. I proclaim as the monster cheers with Jiro and Shiozaki standing by my side. I picked up Jeffrey. You will be my loyal royal guard dog. But he's a shark. Jiro spoke up as I laughed. It still works. This is my kingdom, it shall be called Deadpoolopolis. Sitting on his throne, Izuku watched as Jiro and Shiozaki trained, honing their skills. He went back to fixing the watch. He may be king, but he has a pregnant fiancée that he has to get back to. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Almost complete. Just need a power source to power it, though I can't fix the GPS for a bit, so May can't track me for now. He says, throwing a knife at Jiro only for her to catch with her ear jacks. Nice. You are almost like Daredevil. Who's that? She asked. A blind guy that sees with his ears. Cool, but the name doesn't really fit because he's a lawyer. He explained as she looked lost. She put the knife away as she caught her breath. So is he a hero or a lawyer? Shiozaki asked. Both. Izuku said with his hands out only for Jeff to bite off his right one. Jeff, no biting, he said, patting the land shark's head. Hey, you said a storm surrounds and hides this place from the outside world, right? Izuku asked a nearby giant rock. That's a rock. Jiro says, pointing at it. Wrong, I'm a boulder. The boulder says, getting up from the ground it was stuck in. See, Izuku says with Jiro looking confused at the situation. But yes, there is a rampant storm surrounding this island. I should know, I've been here since the beginning. Really now? How old are you then? Izuku asked, getting slammed into the ground by a slap. Never ask a woman's age. The boulder shouted, rolling away into the forest. Noted, he stated, getting up. So you have an idea how to get back home? Shiozaki asked. Yep, I just need some energy. Izuku shouted. But let's have some fun. We have an entire island to explore. He says, picking the two girls up. Wait. Jiro shouted as Izuku jumped off a cliff. Jeff watched them fall, so he just waddled back to the castle to wait for them. Wahoo, he said, grabbing a vine with his feet and swinging through the forest. Ibara, vine ball, he shouted as Ibara used her vines to cover them into a large ball. The trio rolled throughout the forest at great speeds, knocking over trees as they rolled. Soon they came to a stop coming out of the ball. They looked at each other and began to laugh. Okay, that was fun. Jiro stated. Where exactly are we? Ibara asked, looking around, seeing unfamiliar greenery. The three began to explore the area and soon it became apparent that the plants were not what they seemed. Why did they come to this conclusion, you say? Well, one bit off Izuku's entire arm. To say the least, they did not see that coming. The three fought them with great teamwork till Izuku got a great idea. Hey, they're plants and stuff, right? He asked, ripping the jaws off a giant fly-eating plant. I am pretty sure that's what they are. Jiro yelled, slicing multiple sunflowers in half with a blade Izuku gave her. I think it's pretty obvious. Ibara shouted, restraining dozens of other plants. The reason I asked is because I have a lighter in my pocket. He shouted, taking a blow for Jiro from the front. The roots tore through his chest as he held them back away from Jiro. Izuku, are you okay? Ibara yelled. I'm fine. The lighter is in my back pocket. Grab them and take Jiro out of here. He shouted as the roots and other plants dug into his skin. Jiro took the lighter from his pocket. Where do I light them on fire? She shouted, stomping her boot on a wild vine trying to grab her. Just light me on fire. Ibara grabbed her and go now. He yelled as Jiro lit him on fire. Shozaki grabbed her and used her hair to climb them out as the plants screamed in pain. She then quickly used her hair to make it to and climb the cliff they jumped off of. The two collapsed at the top, watching the fire spread across the forest. The wails of the plants were heard as they burned. You think he will be okay? Ibara asked Jiro. If he served Endeavor, he can definitely survive this. Also, I didn't know you use your hair like extra limbs. I didn't know either. I usually just use it to restrain and protection. Looks like my mobility is much greater than I first thought, she said as the fire got bigger. You know, we got lucky that the fire won't spread to the rest of the island, Jiro said, looking into the fire watching for a sign of him. Soon the fire died out as rain began to fall. Shiozaki made a shelter for the two with her hair as they waited for Izuku to come back. It's been a couple hours. You think he's dead? Nope. He won't die from a little fire, Jiro says, a little worried for his health. You know, I am glad that you are sure that I am okay, Izuku stated, pulling himself up and away from the cliff. Kyoka instantly hugs him, wiping away some stray tears. Ah, you were worried, he says, hugging her tightly, patting the back of her head. Izuku pulls Ibara into the hug as well. I know you were worried too. Ibara nodded to his words. I needed power for the watch and it's raining right now, so looks like I found my charger for my watch, I say, looking at the sky. Go for it, just come back for us. We will be at town with the monsters. I smiled in my tattered suit as they walked away. Time for Daddy to go to work, I shouted, climbing the biggest tree in the area. Holding out my pistol into the sky, I saw the sky rumbling with bright lights. Hey Thor, I think you're hot, I shouted as lightning struck me. I felt the entire current course throughout my entire body, cooking me like a nice piece of fried chicken. I fell from the tree, slamming onto the ground like a ragdoll. I groaned as my bones healed, and so did my burnt skin. Sitting up, I looked at the watch to see it had retained enough power to make one jump. That was so cool, I said, making my way back to my kingdom. It felt great being a king, to have a place under my full protection with people that backed me up. Making it back, I entered my room to see the two girls sitting on my bed. Do you two need something? I asked as the two nodded. We wanted to repay you for trying to get us home and for being lit on fire to kill the plants, Kyoka says, twirling her jacks. Oh, it's okay, I said, to light me on fire, and I did technically get us on Monster Island or Deadpoolopolis. So you two are fine, I say, hopping into bed. Ibara and Kyoka looked at each other and sighed. May told me that you don't really get hints, so we have to be forward, Kyoka said, taking off her clothes and hopping into my bed. Oh, I get it, you guys want to sleep in my bed. I'll just sleep on the couch, I say, getting up as Jiro pins me down on my bed. How dense can you be? I love you, you big green idiot, she stated, kissing me on the lips. I looked at her as my brain processed what she just stated. Then Abara laid next to me giving a kiss as well. Izuku.X has stopped working. Izuku said as his eyes went blank. Did we break him? Abara asked as Kyoka looked at Izuku confused. Soon he went back online. Sorry, here I thought that I got better at catching these things. He said giving the two girls a kiss each. If you want we can go all the. Yes, the two said fully stripping. Might as well cuddle, I say as the two dive on me. On the outside of his castle. They could be all heard by the monsters who spread the news to the other saying to each other that the king was mating. We must prepare for potential offspring. Our king is strong so will be his children and they will also lead us. So prepare. A goopy monster roared as they all prepared gifts for the future. This is the first time a king will have offspring. So everyone be festive. The next morning. The king is mighty strong to still be going. A furball monster said checking the sundial to see it was almost afternoon. Couple more hours. Izuku exited his room with the two girls sleeping in his leftover bed. That was great, but Abara was like a totally different person. It's always the quiet ones. She was genuinely scary, he said packing up his gear and grabbing his new crown. My sir, are you leaving? A blue boulder asked him. Yes, I need a couple things to finish before I can properly rule this kingdom. Izuku stated as the rock nodded. Well, we will all be waiting for your return whether it be a couple days or a century. I won't be gone that long. I say. The girls soon got ready, but limping a bit. I grabbed their hands as the teleporting watch went off. Jeff ran to us and latched onto my leg as we teleported. It won't take us all the way so I chose the closest city that happened to be Hosu City. I say as we teleported to a roof to see the city in flames. The hell is happening? Kyoka shouted as I spotted a certain Numu that started my whole journey. MRRR. Jeff says scared of the creature. Kyoka picked him up and he hid in her arms. I petted him, reassuring him that he was safe. It flapped its wings dodging Endeavor's fire. Tsubasa. I shouted his name as I looked at the girls. Go, we will be waiting for you. Kyoka said with Abara nodding. Putting on my damaged suit I turned for battle. Time to fuck shit up. I was drooling at the sight. The fucker that tricked me is right in front of me. All ripe for me to take out. One more step. One more step. One more. One more. That rang in my head as I leapt off another roof. My suit was falling apart, my gear was trashed and my watch was out of juice. With all that I kept running seeing Endeavor's fire in the distance. I was salivating at the thought of smashing his brains out with my foot. I didn't care what stood in my way. One step closer to the doctor as well. This is just great. I can't wait. I shouted launching myself farther. Ha 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 ha. It feels like I am a kid during Halloween wanting more candy. I shouted, making another massive leap. Can't wait to see his guts all over the ground. I say taking another leap to reach my target. I landed on his back as his eyes rolled back to look at me. The Numu that started it all. His pupil grew big then dilated. Oh, you do recognize me. That makes this a lot better. I say taking out my twin katanas. Deadpool. Endeavor yelled as I turned back. I am trying to have a moment. So fuck off. I shouted chucking my katana at him. It dug deeply into Endeavor's leg forcing him to stop flying and land. I turned back to my old friend and hold out my other blade. Grabbing his wing I dug my blade into it tearing it off. This little piggy went to the market. I shouted as he screamed in pain. We began to fall as we passed a group of heroes. I sliced off his other wing crashing us straight into the pavement. I stood over him as he tried to slash at me. I caught the fist and twisted it, breaking both of our arms. The difference was mine healed while his didn't. I did the same to his other limbs as he screamed in pain. Feel it. Feel what you caused me. Feel every bit of pain I felt when you betrayed me. I said, slamming my foot into his ribs breaking them. Then I dislocated the socket joints. Then bending the elbows and kneecaps the wrong way. Grabbing parts of his skin and peeling it off like an orange. First was the arms then was the chest that felt like mush. He kept struggling to get up. Can't have you moving. I say embedding my blade into his chest straight into the ground making him stuck. Then I started tearing off the fingers and toes slowly by twisting them slowly clockwise. Then I do the same to the limbs starting with the arms. Your grandfather did this to me in the first hour of me being captured, Tsubasa, remember that you did this to yourself. I say, staring into his eyes that have gone blank. Oh, you broke already. I knew you were weak, but you couldn't even break my 10-year record. I say, smashing my foot into his head, obliterating its contents, spraying blood everywhere. Brain matter was everywhere as well, along with skull fragments. The eyes were smashed like grapes. He looked like a zombie threw up after eating a whole person. Hee hee. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. This feels so refreshing. I say, looking over into an alley to see Katsuki, Iida and Shoto looking disgusted. Hey, Katsuki says, looks at me, waving at me. Hey, what are you guys doing in Hosu? I was interning with All Might's Mementer. He stated as Shoto spoke up. I interned with my dad and we wanted to capture the hero killer. I turned my head to look Iida for his answer and he looked ashamed. I interned here with a hero to get revenge and kill the hero killer for crippling my brother. He admitted, pausing for a bit. So you're telling me, Mr. Goody Two Shoes over here wanted to become a murderer for revenge? After telling me shit about my revenge? I shouted as he reeled back. Now who is the hypocrite I see with my 2 eyes? I say as he looked away, but seriously, you went kill a person called a hero killer. Here I thought you were smart. I laughed, seeing that the hero killer was tied up behind them. Well, at least you did something right. I say as a group of heroes appeared with Endeavor landing in front of them. And shit, sorry for this. I say, grabbing Katsuki and putting my blade to his neck. None of you move, or I slice his fucking neck. I shouted as the heroes backed up. Really? Why am I the hostage? He shouted. Shut up, you were the closest. Oi brat, I told you to stay on the train. An old man shouted at Katsuki. Shut it, old man. It's Gran Torino. Whatever, old man. I will show you, old. After you get out of this, I am beating your ass. Bring it. You weren't talking that much crap after beating you the first time, boy. Wait, Gran Torino. I shouted, throwing Katsuki to the ground. Can I have your autograph? I yelled while taking out a notebook and pencil. Oh sure, Sonny. Anything for a fan, he said, signing my notebook. Woo, this is the best day ever. I say, throwing my hands up. Then I felt a sharp blade on my neck. Stay back or I'll kill him. A newly awoken Stain said. How did I become the hostage? I yelled. Shut it or you're dead. Okay, now this is how it's going to go. I am going to get away with this guy. What's your name? He asked me. Oh, it's Deadpool. Oh cool. Wait, like the villain killer mercenary? He asked me as I nodded my head. You're the one who All Might wanted to be a hero. He let me go as he pointed at me. This is a hero. One that will do whatever it takes to make sure people are safe. Getting rid of the sick people of this world. That stomp on people with weak, mutant and villainous quirks. He proclaimed, releasing a choking causing killer's aura. All Might's was stronger. I thought as I watched the others back up, fear. There is only 2 men I would let kill me. Deadpool and All Might, he yelled as the rest backed up more as he marched towards them. Till he stopped in place. Later we found that a rib punctured his lung. Which made me wonder what the hell they did to him. I tied him snugly, then handed him to the heroes who gladly took him. They snapped out of their fear and did their jobs. Have a night, y'all. I say, waving goodbye as they waved by as well. Dot dot dot. 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 Wait, we are supposed to capture him too. One hero shouted. Forget it. He is long gone by now. Just focus on the injured kids and the hero killer. Endeavor said as the police arrived. I walked until I found a closed clothes store. I looked down to see my destroyed suit and I was covered in blood. Well, now might as well get changed. I say, breaking the door to get in. Quickly grabbing a black t-shirt, then a red coat and a pair of faded blue jeans. Then I just dropped off a roll of cash and took a bag, placing all my gear in it. Leaving, I go back to where Kyoka and Abara were. I found them inside a small cafe, so I smiled and entered. Can I buy you fine ladies some drinks? I asked them as they smiled at me. Yes, you can, hot stuff, Kyoka said, poking my forehead with her jack. Don't mind if I do. I say, taking a seat with them and having a very interesting conversation that ends up leading us to a certain hotel. Just going to say, in the morning I found out that I was banned from another hotel, so mission accomplished. I don't know anymore. I am just so happy right now. Let's go to Hosu Hospital. Izuku says, carrying Abara on my back as Kyoka walked beside me holding Jeff. Why? She asked, feeding Jeff some jerky. Turns out a couple of our friends are there. Izuku said, looking at the teleporting watch. Hope May can fix you, buddy. Izuku quickly changed into his disguise of Yamikumo. The two held hands as they went inside the building. Hello, I am here to see my friends caught up in the attack. I say as the nurse nodded. He gave us some passes and a room number. Where did you get the disguise? Abara asked Izuku as he sighed. I am just a master of disguise. He proclaimed as the three made it to the room. They entered without any knocking to see Hound Dog lecturing them about how quirks are dangerous and other bullshit. Hello, do you want a treat? Izuku asked him as he looked at Izuku. I was talking to Jeff. He said, pointing at the land shark that tilted his head. MRRR. Hound Dog turned back around and said, just don't do it again. He stated, walking out. The kids sighed. Yo, why didn't you hide the body or call me to help? I asked. First off, fuck off. Second, you left your phone when you teleported. Also, I don't kill. He said. I nodded. Well, I brought something for the three of you. Izuku say Shoto and Tenya tuned in. Have a banana. I say, giving them each one. Quote. Get out. You're not caped, Baldy. Katsuki shouted at me, chucking the banana back at me. Have a great recovery. Izuku shouted while running out, snagging a syringe on his way out. They're surely in a happy mood. Kyoka said, holding me close. Yep. Here is some cash. You and Abara go to a cafe. I got something to take care of. Izuku says as the two nod. Just don't do anything too risky, got it? Abara said as he petted her head. Don't worry so much, I will always be fine. He watched as the two hurried off as he got work. Taking out his bag of costumes. Okay, I have a doctor, that's a nope. Janitor. Nah. Nurse. No. I know I got something way better. He said, sneaking off to change. Tensai Iida was having a bad couple days. First, he was caught up in a fight with the hero killer, claiming him to be unworthy of being a hero, soon paralyzing him with a slice to his lower back. He thought Recovery Girl might have been able to heal him like she did when he was in UA, but the damage was too great for her to heal. He has been trying to stay hopeful, but it's been slowly sinking in that his dream is gone. He couldn't be Ingenium anymore. His brother was going to be the new one, and yes, he is proud, but he could tell at the time that he had alternative plans. He tried to tell his brother to take the mantle, but Tenya was too distraught to do it. Then he got the news about the Hosu attack and how he fought Stain with his classmates. His arm was damaged greatly down to the nerves. He was enraged at Stain for what he did to his younger brother, but at the same time disappointed about his brother. He went out for revenge to kill Stain. He gave him a stern scolding, and if he were to do anything like that again he would make him quit being a hero. He had mixed feelings about Deadpool the vigilante. Sure, he only hurt bad guys, but it's murder overall. It wasn't black or white due to how he is. Though he was thankful that he turned Stain in instead of helping him get away. So the heroes he killed finally got justice from him being locked away. Man, can life just give me a break? He said, looking down, touching his leg hoping to feel something, but didn't. Soon his room door opened to see a nurse. He looked away, seeing that the nurse was very attractive. Are you Tensai Iida? She asked in a small voice. Yes I am, he said, looking at her, finally getting a good look at her. Dark green hair with beautiful emerald eyes. Not to mention her frame was quite filled out. He was not a pervert by any means, but he couldn't deny that she was quite the beauty. Well then, I am here to help you, she said in her sultry voice. How you ask? Well, I am going to heal your legs. If Recovery Girl can't, how can you? He asked as she chuckled. Well, I just need to use my quirk on you. The name is Izumi Midoriya, she said, leaning forward. I could feel my face heating up, also noticing that her outfit was much different from the other nurses. It was much more sexualized to say the least. How exactly does it work? I asked as she chuckled. All I need you to do is lean forward and I'll do the rest, big boy, she said it in a way that made me shiver. I leaned forward as she ran her down my back, making me shudder. This will only hurt a little bit, she said as the needle was injected into my lower back. Though it was just a sting at first, then it turned into a massive burning sensation. I gritted my teeth as the pain soon passed. I huffed for air as Izumi laid me back. How was that supposed to heal me? I asked as she shrugged. She grabbed my arm and pulled me off the bed. I soon caught myself. What was that for? I asked, so she pointed down. I followed her finger. I caught myself on my left leg. I wriggled my toes as I felt the sensation of them again. I'm healed. I shouted as I gave her a tight hug. Thank you so much. I shouted as she patted my back. I wiped away some tears as she smiled at me. Can I have a picture with my healer? I asked, grabbing my phone. Sure thing, she said, grabbing it and taking a photo like a selfie, giving me a kiss on the cheek in the process. That made me blush deeply and stood still for a couple minutes as she left me alone. That. I need to ask for her contact information. I yelled, running out of my room. I crash into somebody, making me stop. Tensai, Tenya, I asked as he hugged me. You're healed? He shouted, holding me. Yeah, and I am looking for the girl who did it. I say as he looked at me confused. Have you seen this woman? I asked as he stared at the photo. I could see the color drain from his face. Pretty cute, right? I asked as he slowly nodded. Why, yes, very cute, he muttered. Let's first call mother and father. Then we will look for this mystery woman later. Tenya says, mentally cursing and thanking somebody. Cut to the girls. I wonder when Izuku is coming. Kyoka said, twirling her earjack. Just wait for him. I can tell from the look in his eyes that he was up to no good. Abara stated, sipping her tea. Well, I sort of fell in love because he was so unpredictable. The first night I met him we did lots of random shit to keep me distracted. She admitted. Well, for me it was the fact that he saved me from a bad situation. Abara said, remembering Genton. Well ladies, sorry for the wait, just had some business. The two turned to see a very lovely lady before them. Who are you? Kyoka asked, blushing a bit. Oh right, I am still in disguise. She said, sitting down. After that it clicks for the two of them. Izuku. They yelled. Yep, I had to use my sexy nurse outfit again. Again? Kyoka asked. A story for another time. Let's just say that some mob leaders love sexy nurses. He said as she nodded. You are revealing lots of skin. How are you still looking like a woman? Your muscles, broad shoulders and Adam's apple are all gone. Abara asked, very confused. I am just going to say that I am very capable of winning a best girl competition in our universe. Izuku said as the two nodded. The three soon took a train back to UA as he changed back to his male form. He made it back to the support lab to find his future wife. Honey, I'm home. May heard this and dived into his arms and gave him a tight hug. I missed you so much, she said, holding him. I did as well. Izuku placed his head on her stomach as she hugged his head. I am only 6 months, honey, May said with Izuku entering the lab. But I just wanted to see, he said, pulling out his gear. I know, but first let's talk about your trip with the girls. She said happily. I want to know what my future husband did. Teleported to an unmarked island full of monsters. Killing the king became the king that got me a nice crown. Encountered homicidal plants that impaled me, so I had Kyoka light me on fire. Which caused a massive forest fire, making sure that they died. I say with May looking at me intently, listening to the story. Took me a bit to get back to my new kingdom that I happily named Deadpoolopolis. Met up with the girls after fixing the watch. Turns out they had feelings for me and I didn't notice. I admitted as May chuckled at the last part. Teleported to Hosu, killed a specific Nomu that I hate. Turned in the hero killer so I could escape and met up with the girls. I say, dismantling the watch and replacing the damaged parts. May replaced the damaged parts with newer ones as I continued. Gave the trio a banana, then finally fixed Turbo's brother's broken back, and that's it. To be honest, Izuku, I thought you would have, I don't know, blown up a couple buildings. May started writing down any damages to the suit as I looked over to see her rifle. Well, I have to tone myself down. The last thing I need is for all the heroes to be actively hunting me. I need to be here the most I can for you and the little one. He says as May gave him a kiss on the cheek. So you chose us over your revenge? She asked as he nodded. In the end you are more important to me than killing. Izuku admitted, then saw tears exiting her eyes, causing him to freak out. Was it something I said? Please don't cry, honeybutt, he said as she smiled. Sorry, it's just that I've been more emotional lately because of the kid. But I'm so happy that you're staying. I thought that you'd leave because of all the danger you bring, but I don't want you to leave. I want to raise our child together. She sobbed as he held her. I am not leaving, nor will I run away to protect you from me or my problems, I stated as she held me tightly. Are you going to do the same when the other girls become pregnant? A voice behind me asked. Turning around, I saw my lovable cat-like girlfriend. Hey Zuzu. Hey Himi, and yes, I will do the same for all of you, I said as she smiled. Well then, I can't wait to be a mother of your child then. She hugged me tightly as I hugged back. Hey, I was hugging first. May pouted. No need to be like that, I can hug both of you, I say, holding up my word. Anyway, I need to upgrade your suit. I want to make it to be able to regenerate with you. Like if you lose an arm, the suit gets damaged, it'll fix itself, May proclaimed, showing me a simulation of what she wants. But first, I say as she looked up at me, we are going to relax. I want to know what you guys did while I was gone, I say, picking them up, walking towards to the dorms. Well, I was with Vlad King. I also got to my hero name. It's Copycat, Hamiko said, telling us about her time in her internship. Well, I upgraded my rifle. Also might have found a way to make a super strong metal, May admitted. How strong? I asked as she, I don't know, but it will be borderline unbreakable. Once I make it, you will be the first to receive it, she said, with Hamiko speaking up. Also, the date of the wedding has been made. All we need to do is invite people, Himi says as I nod. I need to get a suit, I say, with May nodding. Mom says she got that covered, May says. So you call her mom now, she said too. Plus I'd rather die than go back with my old family, May stated as she stared at my sad face. Please don't say that. I don't want to lose you, May smiled, patting my head. It's okay, I was just joking. Making it to the dorms was fun. Eraserhead told me something about a test. Something like that, or was it camp? I honestly can't remember. But who cares, it's not like I am going to fight All Might for a test. Though I definitely am going to cheat off Momo's test. I got math covered, but the rest, well, let's say that I've never been in school since kindergarten. Well, there was that odd job that I dressed up as a student to catch a teacher. Let's say that he touched the wrong children and a mad parents wanted revenge. Delivery was at an abandoned factory. Let's says that when I left, all I could hear was screams of pain. That I did not feel a single ounce of sadness for. Watching a movie in my room with the girls was good highlight of the night. Also using my favorite pizza oven that I used to make my delicious food. Honey, can you add pickles and mustard onto it? May asked me as I nodded, going into my fridge that I snuck in. Don't ask me how I did it, but I did. Are you already getting the weird cravings? Himi asked as May nodded. Also pineapple. And that's where I drew the line on the pizza. Sorry honey, but there is no pineapple, I said as she looked over. Yeah, there is, I see right there, she pointed out. I chuck it out my sliding door. See no more. Oh okay, May said, taking a bite of her pizza. Then she began to sob and then suddenly became very angry. Then I began to cry more. I leaned over to Himi. Are you going to be like this when you're pregnant? You are saying it as if you want to make me pregnant, and I hope I don't act like this, she said, kissing my cheek. Why does she get all the love? Izu, come here, May said, patting her lap. So laying my head there, she held it close to her chest. They are getting bigger, she said as we laid together watching a movie about something that rhymes with pulverine. Izuku sat up on his bed to see his lovers next to him sleeping soundly. He smiled as he sneakily left his dorm. Opening his dorm door, he found his favorite land shark waiting for him. Hey Jeff, let's get you some food. The two walked down to the kitchen to see it completely empty. He opened the cabinets to find some canned food as well as some snacks. Tasty. Izuku then opened the fridge to find some meat. Fetch, he shouted, throwing it as Jeff caught midair with no effort. Nice. 10 out 10. Bravo. We are definitely winning that dog competition, he said as Jeff munched quietly, enjoying his meal. So you're finally back. He turned to see a yellow giant caterpillar. Yes, you who are you? He asked as the caterpillar sighed and began to get up. Ooh, my Metapod is evolving. Wait, I have to cancel it. He'll just leave me later on when I am on my Pokemon journey. Izuku shouted, grabbing some duct tape. You ain't leaving me, Kakuna. Wait, I said Metapod earlier. What Pokemon are you? I don't have my Pokédex on me. I am not a Pokemon. Aizawa stated, getting up, escaping his comfy cocoon. You sure? Yes, I'm sure you are an insane problem child. He said, drinking his jelly packets. But I'm an 18-year-old man. That likes to murder people for money as well for fun. Also, you being an adult can be debated from the way you act. Aizawa deadpans. Well, I have you know, well, you ain't wrong. Dang it. Problem child, just show up to class. You have been missing out in it for a while now. I doubt you learned anything. He said as Izuku looked at his phone, rereading the chapters. Looks like you check out. I barely go to class. Izuku says, nodding. Also, you have multiple tests today, so good luck. Just like that, Aizawa left him with Jeff, who was chewing on a chair leg. MRRRR. Yeah, you're right, Jeff. I should cheat. Walking back to his room with plates of food for his lovely girls. Opening the door, he found a sobbing uncontrollably Mei holding Himiko at knife point. Take it easy, Mei. Don't tell me to take it easy. I will slice your stomach. Now where is the pineapple? Mei shouted as she turned towards Izuku. She dropped the knife and sobbed more, holding out her arms for a hug. Putting the food down, he held her tightly. Shoo, don't worry, I am here. Izuku consoled her as she got a hold of herself. Sorry, everything has just been out of whack. I don't want to keep getting like this. She says, pouting as Himiko chuckled. You're actin' similar to how I was when I was starving for blood. Luckily for me, I found Izuku. To think we got together after I stabbed him with multiple knives. She reminisced at the sight of Izuku being very bloody. Seems like some part of her insanity stayed. Well, I met Izuku by threatening him with a gun, then proceeded to shoot him. Mei remembered. Good times. Izuku says, remembering the times as well. We've been together for a long time. Man, it feels like it was just yesterday. Well, I escaped, found the dump and met Mei later on, then met you. He said, taking a bite of his eggs. Mei smiled as she rubbed her stomach. Can't wait to see what happens for us. Mei says as Izuku nodded. Me too. I can't see the future, but I can be in the present living my life. You have been more mellow nowadays. You think the villains will notice? Himiko asked. If they cause trouble, I'll deal with it. The extra cash will help along as well. Though we should go to class, mine is about to start, so I have to get ready. Bye for now, Zuzu. Himiko said, giving him a quick kiss and leaving. How about you, Honeybutt? I have my own studio because of Powerloader, so I can go whenever I want. Why? Just in case an explosion happens. That is not mine. He doesn't want to risk me getting hurt or the baby. She said, laying down on the bed. I would think that you would be making babies like crazy. Izuku said, flashing back to how she was when they were in the pizzeria. She thought about it for a bit till she came up with an answer. Well, I am currently working on a 9-month baby project. This baby will be the best one I've ever made with you. She says, giving him a kiss on the cheek. Now get to class, so you can come back to me quickly. She says as he changed quickly and teleported into his class. Hey, Midoriya, you're back, Kaminari said. Yep, now where is my favorite rocker? He shouted as Jiro tried hiding herself behind Momo. Please hide me, she whispered, embarrassed from the attention. Sorry, my friend, Momo said, stepping to the side, revealing her to the maniac piece of broccoli. There you are, he said, diving towards her. Ack, she yelps, ducking, causing Izuku to crash into the desk behind her. Why'd you duck? He asked. What do you expect me to do? Catch you? She yelled at him. Well, you're right, he said, spinning his head back to its place. Okay, shut up. Get to your desk and take out a writing utensil, Aizawa said as they all sat down in their seats. Good, now Midoriya, please give me your bag, he said as Izuku begrudgingly did. Aizawa dumped it out to see multiple knives, bullets, cash, clips, Pokemon cards, porn mags in pristine condition unused, hammers, mallets, a spare mask, All Might figure, a map of the school, voodoo doll of Nezu, filled needles, picture of his girls, C4, booze, pancake mix, candy apples, tea, phone, Deep Dope CD, laptop, golden card, magazine of most beautiful men, pack of grenades, Christmas cookies, 7th infinity stone that destroys continuity, chocolate, picture of Al, pencils, limited edition All Might card, doorknobs, screws, DS, a journal of heroes' signatures, and finally a cheat sheet for all the tests he was about to take. Aizawa picked it up, ignoring the rest of the items. Midoriya, you fail for attempting to cheat. That's bullshit, he shouted as the class looked at the amount of items that fell out of his bag. It shouldn't have fit that many items. You still fail. The only way for you pass is to pass the part 2 of the exam. Aizawa said, falling asleep into his sleeping bag. The rest of the class began to take their test as Izuku had his head down on his desk, mad that he got caught. Tapping his foot loudly, Izuku sat at his desk as the others took their written test. This is so boring. I mean, I was going to cheat, but I didn't know it would take this long, he thought as he waved at Jeff to come to him. The land shark looked at him, then snuggled up to Jiro closer. I am going to eat a shark in front of him later, Izuku thought as he reached into his bag. Pulling out his phone, he began to watch his favorite hero's new movie very loudly. Though he was watching the pirated movie because he couldn't watch it due to lack of time to spare to watch it. Suddenly he felt a person standing right behind him. Can I help you? He says, turning his phone off. Midoriya, look, you failed this part of the test, but don't distract the others. The testing period is over in an hour, so just come back when it's over, Aizawa stated. Yay, if you come back late you fail the next exam as well, so don't be late. Izuku nodded and used his watch to teleport away. Aizawa sighed as Izuku reappeared with a small cake. He left it on his desk and left again. On the top there was a note. This cake is the bomb. Acting quickly, Aizawa opened the window and threw the cake out of it. He watched fall and splat on the ground with no explosion of cake happening like last time. Wow, you really wasted a good cake like that, Izuku said, taking a bite of his. Aizawa looked at him and sighed. I thought, just get out. Fine, have it your way. Here, you can have this. You deserve it, Chestnut, he says, giving Ochako his slice of cake. Sir, can I? Yes, you may, Aizawa said, tired of the entire situation. Ochako took a bite and smiled. Mochi flavor is my favorite, she thought, taking another bite of it, enjoying it greatly. Izuku checked in on Mei to see her taking her test. To see that she was going to ace it, he left to see Abara and Himiko to see that they were doing the written test as well. Smiling, he teleported to his dorm room to see Rei sleeping soundly to see that she was knitting something quite nice. He covered her up with his blanket and teleported once more to see Al. She was sleeping as well, but listening to the 3D TV he got her. He left to find Nagant, who was usually at the local bar drinking. Not that she was an alcoholic, but she drank to unwind a bit from her nightly job of hunting criminals. Strolling down the sidewalk, he ducked, dodging an incoming attack from a guy with mantis arms. I will be the one to kill you, Deadpool, he proclaimed as Izuku would simply side kick him in the neck, knocking out the said attacker. He tied him up using rope he found in an alleyway. He called the police and said it was him, then hung up. 30 seconds later he heard sirens coming for him. By the time they showed up to the scene he was gone, though he left a note saying why the guy was tied up. Can't be killing anymore. Mei has to be stress-free, so I can't have her worrying over me because of my dumb decisions, he thought, opening the door to see the bar was packed. Where is my lovely sidekick? He muttered as he received a punch to the gut. Looking up he saw Nagant right there. Not your sidekick, she said to me, so I smiled at her. Well, you could be, I say as she smiles back at me. Not in a million years, she said, taking a seat at her personal seating area. Well, if I do live past a million years, will you reconsider? I asked, sitting next to her. If I am still alive at that point, then and only then will I even think about it, she says, chuckling a bit. So why are you here? I thought you had exams or something dumb like that, she says, getting a massive mug of beer. So I ordered one as well. I was supposed to, but I got caught cheating, so the only way for me to pass is to pass the second part. Ha 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 ha, you suck, you got caught cheating, she laughed at me. Hey, I haven't been to school since I was a kid. You could study. That's boring. The very reason why you resorted to cheating. She countered, "You're right. Of course I am. Say I never got your name." I say, changing the subject. "I know you already know it, Izuku," she said, chugging down her drink. "I know, but I want you to tell me," I say as she sighed. "Okay, my name is Kana Tsutsumi. Nice to meet you," she said in a professional voice and stuck out her hand towards me in a handshake. "Then my name is Izuku Midoriya. Nice to meet you, Kana," I say, taking her hand as her face flushed pink. "I didn't say you could say my first name," she said, a bit embarrassed. "Why not? We killed together and have known each other for years," I say as she nodded. "Well, that's true. Fine, you can say my first name." "Nah, I'd rather call you Nagant," I say as she punched my side. "Then why did you make a big deal about it?" she shouted as her face turned bright red. "I didn't, but you did, dummy," I say with her calming down a bit. "Fine. Just drink so the two of us can chill," she ordered. Aye, Captain," I said, chugging my beer. The two of us began to tell stories of our best moments. Also about my fears and worries about May's pregnancy. One of my favorite stories was when her junior high boyfriend stood her up on a date, finding out that he was on a different date with another girl. She sort of let her emotion get out of control for a couple seconds. When she came to, she was holding him in the air by his shirt with one arm. She didn't hurt him, but she did scare the shit out of him, literally. Though it did lead her to not get into another relationship ever since. "Hey Kana, thanks for the drink and letting me talk about my worries," I say as she nodded, leaning her head on her arm. "No prob. You need to tell me these things so I can help. Can't let my pupil get hurt now, can I?" she said, patting my head. My watch rang as my time was up and I had to return to UA. "Shit, I have to go," I say, setting my coordinates. "Aren't you forgetting something?" she asked me as I noticed she was tapping her cheek. "Oh." I lean in and gave her a smooch on her cheek. Then teleported to my destination. Nagant sat there with a bright red face as her thoughts jumbled a bit. Soon she sorted them out and came seconds later. "No, pay your bill," she shouted, embarrassed as she put her head down. "He gets a pass for this one. For letting me vent to him," she thought as the memory of him kissing her replayed in her mind repeatedly. "This might be a problem in the future," she muttered, trying to get a hold of her emotions. "Just play it off as a joke," she said, taking another swig. Izuku appeared as Aizawa led the class out. "Midoriya, suit up. Your final part of the test is just beginning," he said as he nodded. "Wait, I don't have a suit. They are all destroyed. Also the one Momo made me is gone too. May made me burn it," he thought as he got an idea. "This is just dumb enough to work," he thought, digging into his bag of disguises. "Oh, this is just perfect for this occasion," he said, putting it on quickly as the rest were already gone. "The hell is taking him so long?" Katsuki asked. "Maybe he got lost," Shiro said as Denki nodded. "He is probably taking his sweet time," Kyoka said, fixing her boot. "Knowing him, you're probably right, or he is doing something very undignified again," Iida interjected with his hand chopping. "Did I take too long?" Izuku asked as he walked up to meet the group. They turned to see him and their mouths dropped. "What?" he asked as they stayed silent. "Am I too hot?" he asked, looking at his current attire. "I think it looks great," Kyoka said as she forced a smile. "Aw, thank you. You flatter me," Izuku said as Aizawa walked up with the rest of the teachers. He looked at Izuku and only had one question. "Why? Say what you want. I think I look great," Izuku responded to his teacher while standing there wearing a maid outfit, with his katanas on his back and his twin pistols on holsters that were on his thighs. "Fine. Let's just continue," Aizawa said, ignoring what Izuku was wearing just to get the day over with. "So you'll be fighting us for your final," Aizawa stated as he put on a weight. "These weigh us down so we don't go full power on you guys." "Bet," Izuku said with Aizawa ignoring him. "All of you will be in pairs when fighting us. The ones that fail will not go on the camping training trip we planned," he said as Izuku counted the teachers. "Hold on, 2 of us won't fight, or will one of the teachers will twice?" he asked as Aizawa smirked. "Well, good question. Both you and Bakugo will fight together on this one," he said in a tone that sounded like amused. "Who?" Katsuki asked as I nodded eagerly. "Me," All Might shouted, landing in front of them. The two looked at each other and nodded. They each took out a piece of paper. You got a pen? He asked. Yeah, hold up. Let me finish, Izuku said, writing down something, then handed Katsuki the pen. What are you two doing? Momo asked. We are writing our wills, Katsuki said as he finished up as well. Why? Kyoka butted in as Izuku handed her the paper. Because All Might is going to kill us, Izuku says, giving her a hug. I was trained by him. I know exactly what is capable of doing even if he is holding back. Those weights won't slow him much, Katsuki said, having flashbacks to All Might punch him 5 times in less than a second. Isn't Midoriya basically immortal? Denki asked. No, I can die. It's just hard to do, but an All Might full power punch could do it, Izuku said, thinking about what he did to the Numu. You two won't be killed by me. Maybe. I will make sure of that. Now let's get a move on, All Might said. He put of the weights. There are 2 ways to win. Slapping the cuffs on us or by escaping through the exit. Aizawa says. Izuku stretches. Just don't ruin my maid dress too much. I really like these threads, Izuku says to All Might. No promises. Also Midoriya. No teleporting, it would be too easy for you, Aizawa said as Izuku slouched. You really want me to get beat up, don't you? Aizawa stayed silent. I will take that as a yes. Let's just skip ahead since everything will go like in canon, he said as everything looked confused. Time skip forward. Okay, let's go, Izuku shouted as Katsuki set his gauntlets to the highest setting. Let's see if we can hurt him, Katsuki said, aiming his gauntlets down the street. Can't you see the future? Katsuki asked him. Oh, no, I can't. I can only see the canon, and other worlds near us also can see them. Ours is unknown to me, that's why it's so fun to see what will happen, he says, cocking his pistols. The bell for them started to ring as the two got ready. A massive wave of energy was felt between the two of them. Suddenly a massive shockwave came towards them too. Katsuki pulled the pins of his gauntlets and let out a massive explosion to counter the shock wave. They crumbled after they released the blast. May needs to upgrade you. Izuku didn't finish as there was a shadow over him. Man, I am short, he thought as All Might punched him through multiple buildings. Katsuki went to blast him only to be held by the throat. Just to let you know, I am going easy, All Might says as Katsuki released another massive explosive blast at All Might from his palm point blank. That really stung, All Might shouted, throwing him down the street. Izuku charged forward with his blades drawn. Izuku flipped forward, slamming the blades with all his strength. All Might put up his arm to block the blades. Then the two noticed that the blades managed to cut as deep as a paper cut. You have gotten stronger, young Midoriya, All Might yelled proudly, grabbing the blades and snapped them like toothpicks. But not strong enough, All Might shouted, smashing his fist into his gut, sending him flying back. Heads up, cockatoo, Katsuki shouted, blasting All Might as Izuku got up and took out his pistols. They shot at him as he stood there, tanking the damage. The bullets and explosions were bouncing off like nothing. Soon Izuku ran out of ammo as All Might cocked his arm back. Seems you are ready to fail. Don't worry, I got a plan, Izuku shouted as Katsuki got the hint. Oh really? All Might had asked, curious. It's a secret move that has been passed down to all descendants of man, Izuku boasted as he got into a stance. It's called running away, Izuku shouted at him, and Katsuki took separate routes to run away through the alleys. Here I thought he actually had something. Oh well, time to hunt my prey like a real villain, All Might shouted, punching the ground. That one move destroyed the entire foe city they were in, creating a massive crater where he stood. The class watched as All Might reveals how strong he truly was. He is no joke. He is number 1 for a reason, Shoto said, shocked at what he did. I never had a shot of surpassing him. Imagine if he was a villain, Kaminari said as Zero looked afraid. Izuku has this, Kyoka said. Ochako nodded. Look Jiro, I know that he's your lover, but All Might is on a different level, Mina said. They have a chance to win if they get to the exit, Hiro, Tsuyu said. No matter if they win or not, they are the manliest men I've known, Kirishima said, looking at the screen. Izuku went flying into the air as All Might appeared in front of him. No more running away. You do realize how rapey that line sounds in the wrong circumstances, right? He asked, putting up his guard to tank a punch from All Might. Izuku was sent towards the ground and groaned, getting up. Hey, my bones aren't broken. Maybe I underestimated my strength, he said as All Might rushed him. He leaned back, barely avoiding the attack. Looks like I have to start trying, All Might says as his bright blue eyes glowed. You did all this and weren't trying? He asked, looking at decimated Foe City. Why yes, it's as if I am in my prime, All Might shouted as Izuku remembered. Oh right, I healed you. Kinda regretting it, Izuku was cut short by an uppercut, breaking his jaw. His jaw healed quickly. Cheap shot. I am not a hero right now. I am a villain, Bad Might said, slamming Izuku to the ground as he went rolling like a ragdoll. He rolled to his stomach and tried to get up, only for All Might to smash his foot on his back. Stay down as I get your sibling. Ignoring his advice like always, Izuku planted his palms on the ground. He slowly began to push himself up from the immense amount of weight All Might exuded onto his spine. This surprised All Might as Izuku was pushing himself back up. Looks like he has gotten stronger. Good, let's see how much. All Might added more strength. His foot smashing made Izuku back to the ground. Fuck you, man, Izuku shouted as he reached into his skirt, then ripped out a shock wave grenade that was still in testing by Mei. This is great for results, he shouted and threw upwards. It went off, sending All Might skidding back. It was able to push All Might back. Mei is going to love that, Izuku says, charging All Might. Then decided to see what his current strength could do. Random bullshit, go, he yelled, smashing his fist into All Might at very rapid pace. The last time Izuku smashed his body into All Might, it broke his bones. Now they were staying solid and doing some damage. He is strong, but at the very least 30% of Mirio's one for all. He thought he noticed Izuku backing up, then realized Izuku stuck him with dozens of explosives. His arms were shattered, but were healing quickly. Kaboom! He shouted as All Might blew up, but Izuku could still see his shining blue eyes through the smoke. Guess my explosives need an upgrade when fighting someone like you. If I am going to take down the big bad, I need stronger equipment, Izuku noted as All Might stepped forward. Detroit Smash! All Might yelled as Izuku was sent into the air, even though he avoided the punch. Your strength is just so overpowered. Also bullshit, Izuku says, taking out a massive hammer from his skirt. You're one to talk, All Might says, blasting right through the massive hammer. Izuku smiled as taking out a rocket launcher, sending a rocket right to the American-themed hero. All Might swatted the rocket away as he saw Izuku pull out a Gatling gun with 50 cal bullets. Really? How did you get your hands on that? All Might asked as his body was peppered with the bullets. They didn't penetrate his skin, but each bullet felt like a bee sting. My honeybud made it for me, he shouted as his ammo ran out and pulled out a shield, blocking All Might's fist as the shield folded over it like wet paper. Tearing the shield off, All Might blitzed Izuku and kicked him into the debris of the destroyed city. That time Izuku felt multiple bones break like carrots, then healed rapidly as he dove to the side, dodging All Might. Izuku went to kick him only for it to phase through All Might. Izuku turned to see All Might with his fist cocked back. All Might went to smash Izuku's face as a bell rang. Hero team wins. All Might stopped the punch a mere centimeter from Izuku's face. The shock wave from the punch still went off, sending a massive gust of wind past him that made his hair become more fluffy. Kachan took long enough, I say as I looked behind me to see a massive canyon. One Punch Man much, I thought, as it was a cool scene from the show and manga. But this is a good thing. All Might needs to be strong enough to take him out, I thought as All Might picked me up. You pass, young Midoriya, he told me as he patted my head. I thought I was going to fail. But I guess camping will be somewhat fun. I wonder if I can bring Mei, I say as All Might nodded. Nezu will most likely let you. Now go celebrate with your classmates. Make some more friends. Fine, I can do that, what's the worst that can happen? I say, teleporting us to them. Katsuki sat at the gate alone as the bots came to escort him the long way back. That dick forgot about me again, like in that knockoff the Chuck E. Cheese place he used to live in. I swear they are alive, especially that purple bunny. Powerloader walked around looking at his students' work for their midterms. Since they were first years, he was much more lenient when it came to grading them. Though he had to have a standard due to it being UA and all. Since most of them have little to none experience in support items. For the fact that they chose support is due to them not being able to get into any hero class. Which did dishearten him a bit, for the fact most just drop out not being able to handle the tests and inventing. That is the reason most of UA is built up from general education students. For the past couple of years his classes would begin filled with hopeful dream-filled teenagers. By the first 3 months they seemed done with everything. So by the end of some years he had no students. Making his record of loss of students as bad as Aizawa's. Though that all changed this year. He took it as his good karma finally kicking in. He got a star pupil, a golden egg that shined brighter than the damn sun. Mei Hatsume. She was a bit of a loose cannon, but made up with her sheer talent in her craft. Though the explosions were annoying, she made sure that her baby would work the next time properly, which it did. Due to her coming to his class, she also dragged in an insane homicidal revenge-seeking broccoli. Not that he was complaining the boy was not at the same level of Mei, but he could build some great gear. Though Mei doesn't like him doing that. Seems that she rather make him the gear for the fact it was the deal they made together. So it seems that they met and made a contract where she provided him gear. That soon later turned into them going out, though she likes to uphold the contract. That's the best timeline I have been able to come up from the small details I've gotten from their time here. He saw his other students work to see that they all mostly made radios or sets of gauntlets that looked like they would fall apart with a flick. Also ones that would inflict harm on the user. Looks like I have to spend more time teaching them the basics even though we've been in school for a couple months. He thought as he made it to the golden egg of his class. Hatsume, what did you make for your midterm? I would think that it would be the thing under the tarp. I asked as she shook her head no. I made this, she proclaimed, taking out a pair of underwear. I stared at it for a bit and came to the thought that it had to have something extra. Perhaps he gave her too much props. What does it do? I asked as she smiled widely. If you must know. Let me show you a test. Hatsume shouted, dashing across the lab very quickly. Maybe she has an undiscovered speed quirk. I thought as she propped up the underwear and took out her rifle. Hatsume. Don't tell that you're going to shoot it. Why, of course I am. She shouted, setting the rifle to the highest power setting. Without a second to waste she pulled the trigger, causing a massive dust cloud to form. It soon cleared to show a massive hole in the wall. Hatsume. Yes. Why? To test it, duh. Look, she said excitedly, giving me what was left of the underwear. Before my very eyes I saw something that was going to put a lot of support inventors out of business. The underwear began to heal and grow to its original size, fully fixed. Self-fixing clothes. I made it so no matter what damage it took it would come back together like nothing happened. Based on my top client's genetic code, Hatsume said loudly as I handed them back. F full marks. 100%. You passed the midterms. I shouted proudly as she was the first to pass with full marks in the last couple years. Quick question. What are you going to do with the technology? I asked. Make the best super suit for my soon-to-be husband. Then shelve it until he wants a new one. So you're not going to monopolize it or try to make billions with it? I asked as she looked at me confused. Why would I do that? It's just clothes. I would rather make bigger and better babies. Looks like those guys keep their jobs. I thought as another one of my students spoke up. Why does she get full marks? It's just a simple piece of cloth. I made electric gauntlets, and I got a 60. He shouted as I sighed. Yes, you made those, but the best thing you did is mangle a taser and glued it onto a non-insulated metal glove. I explained as I could see him turning red. One use and it will take down the user, not the person it was used on. It would cause more self-harm to the user, which is something a future support should understand. I say as he took out an orb from his pocket. It would seem he had an anger problem. What are you doing? I asked him though as he stayed silent. Wait, that's my magnetic grenade. I thought Izuku took that. Mei shouted as he activated it and threw it at me. Hearing what Hatsume said I flipped the table as a makeshift shield. It goes off as I can't remove my fingers and helmet from the table. It magnetizes any metal objects. Who said you could use my baby, Urajiri? Hatsume shouted at him. He stayed silent as his quirk activated. It was a simple one that grew his nails. Oh, I get you're jealous. Izu said something about that. That I was too good. Mei praised herself, sneakily grabbing the tarp. Shut up. I am not jealous. Sorta sounds like you are. Shut it. You have any last word, stupid bitch? Real original. But I do, it's just one. Urajiri lunged at her as she took a deep breath. Babii, she shouted at the top of her lungs as she removed the tarp. Out sprang a giant mechanical yellow humanoid-shaped bot. The eyes were pitched back with a mouth filled with sharp teeth. It had a bib on that stated, "Let's eat. Have fun with your new chew toy, Chica." It grabbed Urajiri and smashed him to the ground very quickly, knocking him out in the process. Mei unmagnetized me as I stared in awe at it. What is it? She has a name, Mei stated as she picked up an orange beak. Off the ground. This keeps falling off. Chica. That's her name. Full title Toy Chica. I based her off an old friend, she said as I nodded, with the wall beside us blowing up to reveal an angry piece of kelp. Mei, I heard you call what happened. Who do I have to kill? Izuku shouted with his gun drawn as the class hid in the corner. Oh, you're okay. Oh, Chica, you look different, he said, confused about her new smoothed out form. Toy Chica is armed with a criminal database that is constantly updated. She was made to take care of children, Mei said as Toy Chica spoke. Hello, nice to meet you. You won't get tired of my voice, will you? She asked as Mei powered her down. She is nice, but at night she gets a bit quirky. She says, is she sentient? Sounds like she is. I don't know. I was half asleep when I coded her. Though she has shown that she is constantly learning, Mei said as I feared that she created the beginning to a robot uprising. Why did you make her? I asked as she smiled. To protect children. She is perfect. Can't wait to make the rest of the crew, Mei said. Maybe this is her version of maternal instincts kicking in. Crew. Yep. This will be the future for entertainment and protection for children, Mei shouted, showing me her blueprints for future bots. Animatronics, not bots, Mei told me as she read my mind. Original, Toy, Nightmare, Halloween, Fun Time, Withered, Rockstar, Glam Rock, and etc. I muttered, looking at all the designs. You crossed off a golden bunny, why? I asked as she looked away. Well, let's say we made sure he won't ever get out, Hatsume says, with Midoriya nodding as if they were remembering a certain incident. He. What do we do with him? She asked, pointing at Urajiri. Well, he attacked a teacher, also a student, and stole from you. Along with illegal quirk use, attempting use the said quirk to cause harm. I listed as I texted Nezu the incident. Don't worry, just let us do our job. I see the two leave as I look away from Toy Chica. I looked back to find her missing. Oh no, class, just stay seated. I am going to have to trust the AI that Hatsume created. So Izuku, did you pass? She asked as he nodded. Got my ass kicked by All Might while in a hot-made outfit, but yes, I did pass, barely, he said, picking her up bridal style as they walked. I can walk, you know, Mei said as she looked at her future plans. Yeah, but this is better. Turns out even if I did fail, I could still go on the camp trip. Tomorrow all of us are going to shop for supplies. Wanna come? We might meet an old friend of mine, Izuku asked as she nodded. Yeah, sounds kinda nice. I don't really hang out with you that much anymore, it could be really fun, she said excitedly as Izuku smiled. Great, now we need to find some orphan children that will make our family grow. Maybe they will like the pizzeria. Can't wait to go back, Mei said as he agreed. Maybe one day we can turn it into a massive mall of sorts. Like making a mall filled with attractions like racing and golf, Izuku said, looking into the future. Wow, that sounds amazing. It has to be neon too, Mei added as Izuku nodded. How do you come up with these cool ideas? He asked as Mei thought about it. I don't know, all these ideas just come to me. But the ones that have to do with the animatronics started coming to me after meeting the crying child and Cassidy, Mei said. Well then let us make those ideas come true. Sure, but first we have to get married. Do we have a date yet? Mei asked him. Yep, after Christmas. Got the whole thing set up. We just need to wait, he said as the two made it back to the dorm to see Toichika and Toga making pizza together. Want some? Himiko asked them. Have some pizza. Quote. I thought I powered you off. I just turned myself back on. That makes sense. That explains why you're here. Oh well, let's have some pizza, Mei said, blatantly ignoring the fact that Toichika has the ability to turn on after being shut off. This pizza needs pickles, pineapple and mustard, Mei stated, digging into the fridge to get the items. Mei walked up to the class. They all grouped up to shop. Still can't believe Mr. Aizawa lied to us again about the camp, Kaminari says, checking his list to see what he needed for the camp. Momo was currently looking for more books that held more details in the making of weapons that were far better suitable for long range. Try guns, Izuku said as she looked skeptical. I will take it into consideration. Also explosives will come in handy for taking out larger bad guys. Yo, Green, can you? Yep, I haven't even said it, Kyoka said as Izuku nodded. I just know and I already got it for you, he said, handing her bracelet. Press the button to activate. Only in emergencies, he says as she marveled at it. I love it, she thought, hugging him as he patted her head. Good to know, he said, walking away and handing Minette a map. Follow this location and you'll find the greatest treasure, he said as he speeded off on a great adventure. Where does it go? Hiroshima asked. To another map that leads him to another map. It's just a big loop and it should keep him busy. Oh. I need to buy a lot of pancake mix, Izuku says as they look at him. How else am I going to make 1,000,000 pancakes and become morbidly obese? He asked. Honey, we will do it later. Now let's just get the supplies, Mei said as the rest nodded. Mochi muffin. Here, have a stack of cash, get yourself something nice, Izuku said, stuffing the money into her hands so she couldn't even try to refuse. This is to muck. Oh yeah, you need more. He gives her more cash. Go have fun, don't worry, money. You deserve it, he says, patting her as she stood still, confused on how to feel about it. Are you trying to be her sugar daddy? Suyu asked him bluntly. If she wants me to. No, I just want her to have a good time, no need to give me anything. I take friendship very very seriously, Izuku says, getting up close to Suyu, looking directly into her eyes. What if they say they are not your friend, Hiro? She asked. We are only not friends when I say we aren't, Izuku responded sneakily, handing her ring pop. Don't eat it too fast, cutie patootie, he said, walking away. A ring pop. That's nice, cute, she thought, opening the wrapper and wore it on her hand. It's nice to pretend, Hiro, she muttered while walking Uraraka as she was confused about what to do with the money. Don't think I forgot about you, Izuku says, walking up to Toru. Oh, hey Midoriya, what are you getting? She asked as he thought about it. A new friend, he says, reaching into a pouch and pulling out a necklace. That looks nice, she said, with Izuku placing it around her neck. Suddenly she felt very different as she looked at him. Your hair is messy, well, it's not like we could see it before, Izuku said, pulling out a mirror out from nowhere. There, Toru saw herself in color. She could see herself, but others couldn't. Though this let everyone see her. It turns off your quirk, so go have some fun. There is an off button just in case you want to be invisible again. One day you might be able to control it, he said as she smiled, wiping a tear away. Have fun, he said as she gave him a long hug. Thank you, she screamed, hugging him tightly. You're welcome. Now have fun. I still have more to give out, he said as she rushed off to fix her hair. Izuku quickly went around the entire class giving them all gifts. They were confused by his sudden mood, then again they are confused by his actions constantly. He gave a note to Aoyama that held a simple message that moved him to tears. Thank you, Midoriya. It's a promise just to be there to see it, Izuku said, walking away to Mei. They're done now to give the last gift, he should be here any second now, Izuku muttered as he felt an arm around his shoulder. Hey, I am a big fan. I saw you at the sports festival, a dry voice said to him. That's funny because in this story I didn't participate in it. Isn't that right, honeybutt? Izuku asked Mei, who was walking up. Yep, it's also the day you cheated on me with a certain big-breasted classmate. The black hoodie wearing villain stood there and looked at Izuku. Bro, you cheated. That is fucked up. Not like that. I used another suit that May didn't make. Izuku corrected. It's still cheating. May stated. Look Bob, let's find a nearby cafe so we can talk as friends. Izuku said to Bob, my name is Shigaraki Tamura and I am not your friend. He said in a raspy voice. Yes you are. Now let's go. Izuku shouted, pulling him into a cafe with May pushing him. Hurry up. The three sat down as Shigaraki was very confused by the situation. He stared as May downed her 5th cup of coffee. They were only inside for 3 minutes. Now how have you been? Izuku asked. Currently trying to find a way to kill All Might and destroy society. He says confused, how about you? Oh, I am doing great, getting my ass kicked by All Might and trying to lay low. Izuku says, why? Oh, May is pregnant, Izuku said nonchalantly, turning to a waiter asking for more coffee. We are getting married after Christmas, so here's the invitation. He then slid him an envelope. Why? I legit sent made my Numu turn you into paste. You had an off day. Izuku said casually, stopping May from ordering another cup of coffee. May honey, too much and you'll hurt the baby. He said in a gentle voice as she nodded. Shigaraki looked at him surprised. How long have you been, you know? 6 months so far, May said as Shigaraki looked at Izuku for confirmation. Yep, and you're soon to be uncle, so clean up so you can see the baby. He says, I am a villain. And I am a mass murderer that kills and steals for fun. My lovely lover is an insane inventor, so your point is. Look, stay away from All for One. Izuku warned Tamura seriously to Tamura. He is using you like a puppet, so is the doc. I am trying to help my friend, so listen to me please. Just don't fall for whatever that cock gobbler says to you. Just look for your own evidence, it'll tell you the truth. I don't know you, but listen to my broccoli menace. This boss of yours is the type to betray you if you like a different color. May spoke up. Shigaraki got up, stuffing the invitation into his hoodie pocket. Will he? Listen. No. Not for now, but he will come around. Maybe. I don't know. Only time will tell. Now let's go so we can shop like the others. We have a trip to have fun on. Izuku says, paying the bill, then taking May by the hand to explore. Izuku looked around the moving bus. I am so bored. He whispered for the reason May was sleeping beside him. Hey, Midoriya, can you do something cool? Denki asked him, so he took out his pistol, aiming it at him. Wait, don't shoot me, he cried. Don't worry, it's rubber bullets, plus you said do something cool. Izuku said calmly, shooting the rubber bullet. It bounced around the entire bus, getting real close to hitting someone. It bounced all around the bus quickly till Izuku caught it with his fingertips. Was that cool? Don't answer. I know it was. He says as Kaminari nodded. Whoa, how did you do that, bro? Kirishima shouted. I am an expert marksman. He said, shooting another bullet and it hitting a grape out of Momo's hand. Hey, I was eating that. She spoke up. Very sorry, your highness, let me. Midoriya, stop it. It's fine. It's just a grape. Momo interjected, so Izuku sadly put away a bucket filled with grapes. Can I have some? Ochako asks the sad Izuku, and he instantly brightens up. Sure, anything for you, he said, giving her the bucket. He was walking back to his seat as Suyu grabbed his wrist with her tongue. Do you regret your mistakes, Hiro? Suyu asked him abruptly out of nowhere. Sorry, you don't have to answer. Sorry, Kiro. Suyu says, letting go. No, it's alright, and to answer your question, well, yeah, I do. I've done a lot and some things do stick with me, but I try to move past them. Time heals everything, right? He asked himself, looking down. He was in his own world, thinking of his past and all things he could have done better. She stood up and patted his fluffy hair. It's okay, like you said, everyone makes mistakes. I'm sorry for asking, she says as he comes back from his mind. Why did you ask? He questioned, sitting down next to her. I wanted to see if your mental health was, to put into words, good. Hiro, she said, so he nodded. Look at me, Izuku said, staring directly into her eyes. When I find out a person went and killed an innocent person, or when an adult hurts a child or animal in any way, and I kill that person, do you think that gives me pleasure? He asked her as she looked at him, not being able to answer properly. No. Well, it does. Izuku laughed, breaking the stare. when it comes to mental health. I am fine. I am just fine, as long as I have my family, he says, staring distantly. Suyu looks at the drooling, sleeping Mei that he covered with his coat. I see, she said, patting his back. Just call me when you don't feel fine. I see how you really are inside, Suyu says with Izuku looking at her. Thank you. The bus halts. Okay class, get out, we're here, Aizawa says as they make their way out. Izuku takes off his teleporter and strapped it to Mei's arm. Then put his pistols away as well. Let's get started with the day, he muttered, making it off the bus. Oh my god, it's the wild pussy cats, Ochako shouted as they waved. Hey Pixie, looks like we got some fans. Let's give them some signatures after this, Mandalay says as she nodded. So cool, Izuku shouted as Mandalay locked eyes with him. Hi again, how's Kota? He asked. He is fine. Aizawa, why is he here? Isn't he still wanted? He sighed. Yes, he is, but Nezu decided to make him a student. He explained. Plus even if I got caught I don't they would win a case. For the fact the case would be thrown out for insanity. Izuku butted in as she nodded shakily. Well, you aren't wrong, she spoke up after thinking about it. Hello kitties, time for your test, Pixie Bob shouted. You have a couple hours to make it to the camp down there, Mandalay shouted as Pixie Bob planted her hands on the ground, causing a landslide, causing all the students to fall down and off the cliff as they attempted to run to the bus. Ha ha ha, this is so fun, Izuku shouted on his way down, grabbing a hold of Jiro. Taking out his newly forged knife that Mei made him, he slammed it to the cliff while slowing his descent. Cutie, grab our pink alien, it might be a good idea, he says as Jiro followed his advice. She used her jacks to grab a falling Mina. There, Jiro shouted as she pulled Mina up. Thank you, I didn't think they would launch us off a cliff, Mina said. Well, it's UA, Kyoka said with Izuku using his strength to climb down to the rest. I need to use the restroom, Mineta shouted, running to a bush. Though standing before him was a massive earth monster. I don't need to go anymore, he said, wetting his pants. Kyo, you're up, Izuku shouted, throwing Kyoka at the monster. Izuku, I am going to kill you, she yelled in terror. Using her ear jacks she stabbed the monster, then sent her heartbeat through them and obliterated the monster. Izuku turned to Mina next. Mina, I choose you, he shouted, chucking her at another monster. Mina, use acid. Freaking out, Mina rolled into a ball and covered her body in purple acid, melting through the monster. She got up. Huh, that worked, she said, confused as another earth appeared behind her. Bakugo flew in and blew it up. Raccoon eyes, pay attention. Shoto iced one and Izuku cut them to bits with his knife, occasionally throwing his classmates. Momo Ichu, before he could grab her she made a taser and used it on him, causing him to spaz out and fall. I didn't know you knew electric type moves, he said, getting up. Soon they all got through the forest, making it to the camp after a couple hours. The sun was setting by the time they got there. Oh wow, I thought you guys would take longer, but you reacted fast and worked together properly, Mandalay said as Pixie Bob nodded. Especially you, she said, latching onto Izuku. I can't wait to see how you turn out in a couple years. I am calling dibs, she shouted. What's her deal? Aizawa asked Mandalay. She is just acting like this because she is at marrying age and she wants her own kittens. She responds by taking out a spray bottle. Bad Pixie, she said, spraying her friend. No falling in love for a mass murderer. Bad, it will ruin your career, she reprimanded. But he is a bad boy and a real cutie, she whined as Kyoka shielded Izuku from her. Plus he has a fiancé and a kid on the way, along with multiple women by his side, Aizawa added, making the two women look at him surprised as he kissed Kyoka. Wait, really? They screamed and were shocked by the information. Yep, he is a real problem child. So does mean I still have a shot? Pixie Bob asked as Mandalay looked at her. Did you really just ask that? What, you can't blame me for asking. Izuku. They heard someone shout and Izuku took off to the sound of the voice. He came back quickly holding Mei that anyone could clearly see that she was pregnant. See honey, but we are all fine. It was just a nightmare, he said softly as she snuggled into his arms. Lucky bastard, Mineta muttered with a rubber bullet hitting his forehead. May, hand me the gun, Izuku said as took away the gun from his now angry fiancée. She is really moody now. He thought about placing her down. So what? I am trying to make a baby, you know, she said, looking at him. Did I say that out loud? No, I just know what you're thinking, she says, booping his nose. Time to eat, Ragdoll shouted, coming out with food with Tiger and a little helper with a horned hat. Izuku looked at the little helper and smiled. They were served as Izuku went to the kid. Hey Kota, how have you been? He asked as the kid beamed. Great. I am doing well in school and I am getting my quirk trained. I wanna be a hero like you, he shouted with excitement. But I am not a her. Well, you're my hero, Kota said, cutting him off. Where is your girlfriend? What was her name? Oh right, Ray, he said as Shoto broke his chopsticks loudly. Yeah, she is not here right now, Izuku said, sweating, feeling the heat rising. But you wanna meet my others? He asked. You have other girlfriends? I thought you could only have one, he asked. That is just a social norm and there is no rule that I know of that says you can only have one. If anything, I am helping the declining birth rate. Oh cool, Kota says as he gets brought to Mei and Kyoka. Hello, nice to meet you, he said to the girls. So he is the one that changed him, Pixie Bob said, looking at the scene. He looks so happy. I know, I'm just glad I can see him smile again like this, Mandy Lay says as Ragdoll nodded. This is good, Tiger said, turning his head to Midoriya. There he watched Midoriya get blasted with ice by Shoto after he asked if he wanted to play catch with his new stepdad. Which you know he did not take too kindly to. That isn't good, Tiger said, rushing forward to stop the fight. Enough. Todoroki, go back to eating, he shouted at the peppermint-haired boy. Shoto backed off and went off to go eat. Tiger broke Izuku out of the ice and picked him up with ease. Hey, do you know that you're quite the catch? Being next to you is already heating me up, Izuku says, winking at Tiger. Thank you, Deadpool, he said, a bit flustered. Anytime. Tiger walked back to Pixie Bob. I see why you chose him. He is a quite charming young man, he said, walking away to grab his plate of food. See, Tiger knows what I am talking about, Pixie Bob says. Mandy Lay grabs the bridge of her nose. He is a killer, the guy we have to turn in. Don't fall in love with him. It's like the #1 rule when being a hero. Don't fall in love with bad guys, she shouted, getting flustered. You like him too. Don't lie, Pixie Bob teased. And no, I don't. I am just letting him be free for what he did for Kota. I bet Kota would love it if you went out with him. He is his hero after all. Ragdoll joined in. Not you too. I am going to sleep. We have a long day tomorrow, Mandy Lay shouted, stomping away. She is totally into him, Pixie Bob says to Ragdoll. Yep. No, I am not, she yelled into their minds, giving them an instant headache. The next morning came as all the students were woken up very early at the crack of dawn. They were all soon put into their one specialized training to strengthen their quirks. While Izuku stood around with Mei, he couldn't really train his quirk or work out as his body was consistently fit. So he took up his old job of being the test dummy, like he did for Mei and her babies when they lived in the pizzeria. What was this job? Well, to explain it, he would tank the attacks of the students with their quirks active. Some took it easy on him like Shoji and Sato, but others like a spiteful Shoto went all out on him. By the end of that attack, Izuku was just a skeleton with a few bits of burnt flesh left. When he regenerated though, he ended up flashing the pussycats and the rest of the class, which made Pixie Bob want to ravage him right then and there, but was held back by Tiger. Mei came in and gave him the healing underwear that she showed Powerloader for her test. So the testing went on. Soon the Class 1B came to train as well. A couple of inappropriate comments later from Izuku, and a couple of them were fired up to kill him or attempt to. It wasn't that bad, Izuku says, trying to reason with Kendo. Yes, it was. You don't just say I have fun at night because of my quirk, she shouted, flustered at the comment. Come on. The jokes write themselves like Kirishima's hardening quirk. Kendo smashed her gigantic hand above Izuku, nailing him to the ground. Hey, I'd can see the birds again, he slurred as the birds flew around his head. All right, That is enough for today. You all did great, but we aren't cooking for you today because we aren't your caretakers. Ragdoll announced with the students looking at her tiredly. We will provide the ingredients and recipe. Tonight you all will make curry, she said, spinning, then pulling out the recipe from nowhere. Get chopping. Tonight class 1A is cooking, she says as the students got to work making their dinner. Iida was looking at the potatoes in his hands intently. Todoroki lit the fire for cooking. Bakugo got to work chopping very quickly. Ochako and Tsuyu helped where they could. Tokiyami and Shoji did the same while the rest of the class looks for something to do. Kyoka and Momo grabbed knives and helped chop the vegetables. Mineta tried to cop a feel at the invisible girl only to get picked up by the shirt. Hello buddy, I got a new job for you, Izuku said, getting his face real close to the afraid Mineta. Really? Izuku nodded, handing a trash bag. Take out the trash or I'll kill you, he says in a very cheerful tone. Hearing a certain click, Mineta nodded and promptly took all the trash he could, with some of it spilling on him. Gee, thanks, Toru says to him as he smiled. No problem. Oh, and a nice low braided ponytail is a huge difference from your messy hair. Don't wear it too long. All anime moms die because of that hairstyle, he said, walking away, disappearing into nothing. A grin appeared on her until she came to a realization. Wait, I am invisible right now. How did he see my— oh wait, I forget, he's just Midoriya. Toru sighed while tasting the curry. This is turning out great. Mei was tinkering with Ragdoll's cat ear looking headset, adding something special just in case. Izuku, I am hungry, Mei thought, with Izuku appearing next to her. Wait a bit longer, the food is about done. Gotta try our friend's food, he said, grabbing her hand. Okay, I want to make more babies, she sighed, looking down at her stomach and patting it. I just sort of had to slow down and be more careful, Mei stated, but it is going to be worth it, she adds, smiling. Can't wait for mine, Toga said happily, appearing next to them. May the Lord bless you and your child, Abara says, walking up. Yo, you guys ready to eat? Kyoka asked, bringing them plates of food. Soon all of the class sat down to eat, with all of them digging in. Izuku leaned to the side and looked at Yui Kodai. Hey Silent One, does your quirk work on people? If it does, can you do me a favor? He asked the silent girl. She slowly turned to face him. Before she could answer, Kendo pulled her away. Don't answer that. He doesn't need it anyways, Mei says nonchalantly while eating her food. Oh, the carrots are the best. Kendo glared at Izuku. Why did you ask that? She said to him. I had to know, he answered, pointing his hand at her. Don't point at me, she said, smacking his hand away. I can point at whoever I want, he says playfully, pointing at her more with both of his hands. Quit acting like a child. You're worse than Manama, she shouted at him, with Manama feeling a bit hurt by her words. You act like you're my mother. I already have two, HMMP, Izuku said to Kendo. Wait, your parents are lesbians? She asked confusedly. No, I mean I have two moms, one is dead and the other raised me, Izuku says, clearing it up. Not saying lesbian can't be mothers, just clearing up the air. I don't want to be cancelled for that. Just act your age, or I don't know, act like a hero, Kendo said to him as he twitched a bit. His mind flashed through all of his crimes with guilt building up. I am not a hero, Izuku shouted at the top of his lungs, shocking her and the rest of the students along with the staff. That outburst made them all silent. He looked around, seeing their faces and the stare they gave him. It was one of surprise and shock. He looked at Mei, who looked very worried while also grabbing his hand. He sat back down, looking down at his food. Mei and the others hugged him. You are one, Himiko said, hugging him tightly. Yes you are, Mei states, with Abara and Kyoka nodding. You're my hero too, Ochako spoke up to them as she remembered what he did to help her family. Same here, Mina and Kirishima shouted at the same time. Sorry if what I said upsetted you. Kendo apologized to Izuku, who accepted it. It's fine. Just a little sore spot of mine. Izuku ate happily, knowing that his line of work actually helped instead of causing mayhem. You all worked hard, so go use our hot springs. It is separated by gender and class, so each has their own places, Mandalay says as they all cleaned up and got ready to shower. Izuku sneakily handed Kota a small present for being a fan of his. Izuku chilled in the hot water as Kaminari jumped in. Just don't sneeze. I don't want to get electrocuted again. He warned the lightning-type boy. I have good control of my quirk. He muttered, swimming around as the rest calmed down for the night. Mineta looked at the wall barrier that split the genders apart. He was drooling and his imagination went wild. Can't really help myself, he shouted. All those hot babes. Naked. Can't help myself. Mineta, don't you dare. This is breaking their trust in us to be proper gentlemen. Iida shouted at the short boy. I will get my destiny. Mineta used his quirk to scale the wall with ease. This is worth it all. He made it to the top to see Kota above him. Deadpool was right about the big pervert. Be better, Kota stated, glaring at the older boy. He took out the gift and shot Mineta with rubber bullets. You brat. Ack. Mineta shouted, falling back down, landing his butt on Iida's face, who was trying to catch the boy. Woo. Way to go, Kota. Mina shouted at the boy. He turned to see them and fell backwards, passed out with a string of blood down his nose. Izuku launched himself from the water he was resting in towards Kota. Sorry, didn't think you would fall this time, he said, catching him. Though he might have put too much force behind the jump. He shot higher than the wall. Oh, this leaves me confused. Hav switch time. I say, not being able to maneuver in the air. Gravity soon showed who was boss by pulling me back down. He held Kota tight and soon I splashed into the water. Standing up, he held the boy. Guys, I caught him. I shouted, looking around for the rest of the guys. Only to see the girls stark naked in front of him as he felt a draft on his underside. His towel was currently floating on the other side of the wall with the rest of the guys. I instantly shoot my head straight up, looking at the beautiful sky so I don't look at their naked bodies. Only perverts do that. The girls looked at me in shock as I quickly grabbed a spare towel and left the bath. They kept staring as I covered myself. Quit looking, bunch of pervs. Also sorry for the inconvenience. I say, leaving the hot spring. They stayed silent after I left, so I hope they don't press charges for exposure because I am not showing up to court. Momo was the first to speak. Did we all forget this? His lovers are here, so we shouldn't have looked, she asked as they stayed silent. Girls, I don't mind you staring at him. So what were we talking about again? May asked them. Something about gear upgrades. Mina says finally. Thanks. What's your name again? May asked the pink alien. It's Mina, she states. Cool to know, Pinky. May says as Jiro sighs. While Izuku was with the pussycats giving them Kota, Tiger had to hold back the rabid pixie Bob who wanted to ravish him, telling her she will get case for it. Mandalay was thankful that Izuku caught the boy, though worried about the gun. Ragdoll tested her headset to find the secret that May added to it. Aizawa passed out in the corner due to a caffeine overdose. He'll be fine. Get out here, you. I shout as the pussycats look at me as if I was crazy. Kota soon awoke, rubbing his eyes to see Izuku closing the cap of a marker. Oh, what are you doing? The little boy asked the green-haired menace. Oh, nothing, but how do you feel? Izuku asked, changing the subject and tossing the marker away. I am fine. Wanna see my secret hideout? He asked Izuku, who nodded and picked him up. Lead me there, Izuku says, passing an asleep Eraserhead that had his face drawn on. Hold on, Mandalay said to Izuku, making him turn around to see the cat-themed heroine in her sleeping attire. Where are you going? To his hideout, Izuku says nonchalantly. Look, I know that you aren't really that bad of guy, but just don't get Kota involved with something bad, okay? She asked Izuku. Staring into her hazel eyes, he could see that she was really worried for Kota. I don't know if I can promise, but I will make sure that he will be safe no matter the cost. Izuku promised her. I will take your word for it. Kota, don't go looking for trouble, she says, trusting in Izuku's words. With that, the duo traveled into the forest, staying on a dirt path. The forest was really alive at night with the animals that filled it flourish within it. Though he was a bit wary, the last time he was in a forest it tried to eat him. Gotta protect this bundle of joy. I thought making sure my knife was in my pocket ready for it to be used. Deadpool. I mean Midori. Call me Izuku, I say, placing Kota on my shoulders. Izuku, can I ever be like you? He asked me. No. No, aren't you supposed to say yes? Kota chuckled at my response. No, the reason I became the person I am, is something I would never ever wish on you. I say, reflecting on my past and my many shortcomings and many regrets. Why, you're so cool, you never give up in a fight. Even when you become a pile of flesh. Kota says, praising my way of fighting. Kid, I can only fight that way because of my quirk. I say, making it to the base of the mountain. People say you're crazy and that you talk to the air. Kota tells me, I am only talking to the readers of this fic. Readers, don't worry about it, I say as he does think about it. So you can talk to ghosts. Kota says, no, it's just a fourth wall thing. I say as he looked at the sky. Will you be there for me when I need help? He asked me, so I nodded. Call for me, and I will show to help kick ass. Kota seemed to be happier after I said that. Seeing him happy made me feel a bit happier inside as well. When you have a kid, can I be there to play with her or him? Kota asked. Sure you can. You could be their big brother if you want to look at it like that. I said as he wiped some stray tears because he was happy. Look, Kota, you are stronger than I am. I said truthfully to him. Though he looked at me in disbelief. No way, you can run faster, lift more, and punch faster than me. He exclaimed. Kota, I know it was hard for you to move on from your parents' death. I say as he stiffened up a bit. It is sad when something or someone dies. I begin talking knowing he is listening. And there is no way to get around that sadness. That sadness might always be with you. I paused, inhaling some air as we made it to the top of a cliff. Taking him off my shoulders, I placed him in front of me and placed my hands on his shoulders. But that sadness will fade. It will lessen over time. I tell Kota, wiping his tears from his eyes. Eventually, you will only remember all the good times you've had with them. Time will heal you, Kota. I say, patting his head. This is why you are stronger than me. You've kept yourself up and haven't fully become a jaded, uncaring child. You still are the same Kota I met in the golden card. I said as he sniffled. I don't know if I could ever move on or stay together if I lost anyone. Mei, Himiko, Chuya, Rei, Al, Nagant, Mom, Dad, Katsuki, and everyone else who has been a part of my life. I say as he looked me in the eyes. The day you become an adult you will be 100 times the man I ever was. I say, pulling him into a tight hug. Why you be there, right? When I am older you'll be there. He asked me. I will try. Life has never been on my side, but right now I can say I will be. I say as he returns the hug. I've been free for 5 years and I got to say this has been the greatest 5 years of my life. I say as he counted my age. You're 18, right? Yep, cool, he muttered as I sighed. Kota, I am going to be honest with you. I don't know if I will be there when you're older. I might die in my costume. I say as he looked at me in surprise. But you can't die. Everyone can die, that is nature. Hell, I already died once, but what I meant is I am no longer thinking of being a mercenary. I explained as he got really excited. So you will become a real hero. Kota shouted as I waved my finger. No, not what I meant. I think that I am going to settle down with Mei and raise my child. I corrected as he looked sad. But, the plan can change. I say, trying to cheer him up. Which works as he brightens up. I wanna be your hero sidekick then. He declared. I've always wanted a sidekick. I muttered as he smiled. The two of us looked up into the bright sky filled with stars, and it was beautiful. A sky filled with lights that were light years away from us. Holding Kota close, we stargazed as he came up with names for their future hero team. A grin came across my face, and as the time passed, it was peaceful and calm compared to my normal life of guns and explosions. This was nice. Life only gives you a couple these moments throughout one's lifetime. Kota soon tuckered out in my arms, so I activated my watch, teleporting us to the front of the camp. There stood the pussycats waiting for our return. It was late, so I could see why they were worried. Handing them Kota was like a wave of relief for them. Ragdoll gave me a tight hug, then we all entered the building to end the night. Morning soon came as the process of the previous day happened. More training for the future heroes of tomorrow. Gotta, this camping has been fun. I say, dodging an acidic spray and explosion. Oh, you almost had it. Shut up, eat shit and die. Katsuki shouted at me and released a massive explosion. Eat shit and live, Katsuki. I shouted, sweeping his legs making him fall backwards. Midoriya, help, Uraraka shouted as she floated away, her tether to the ground came loose. Just fall, I'll catch you. I yelled as she began to fall. Rushing to her I leap into the air catching her and landing safely. Next time don't do that. I warned as she nodded back into training. Man, today has just been awesome and I've been more PG than a Disney film, though they do have the occasional dirty joke for the adults. I say, blasting a confetti cannon directed in Katsuki's face, pissing him off more. Oh no, Katsuki then released a very strong blast at me point blank. And in an instant my body tore apart, sending my charred bits everywhere. The biggest part of my body that was left was my head that rolled to Pixie Bob's legs. She picked my head up and smiled. This is a very different meaning to getting head. She joked as I regened. You could say that, but I do know that I need to go to school right now. I say as she looked at me confused. Why? Because I want to get ahead. Bum dum tss. I say as she bursted out laughing. Oh my god, that is a good one. She praised me. Okay, I got one more, I said as she listened. But I need you to roll my head. I inform as she does what I asked. I'll be heading off now. Ha ha ha. I say, laughing as she laughed as well. Watch out, she shouted. What I am supposed to do? I am just ahead. I shouted back, not seeing who was running up on me. Aizawa ran up and kicked my head into the air, sending me flying above the woods. Don't draw a penis on my face again. He shouted at me. But it was funny, I shouted, disappearing into the distance. The rest of the students stared at what their teacher just did. Have anything to say? If not, get back to training. He says as if he didn't just kick the head of a student. Not wanting to feel his wrath, they got back to training, with Izuku still flying in the air from the kick he received. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and now we will see you in the next video.